is back. We were worried about this game. Joel Embiid, again, is not going to play due to that left ring finger surgery that he had last week. But we are ready to rock here and get a good look for our first time this season at Kyrie Irving in a Nets uniform on the cast.
Yeah, and that's really exciting. And Irving transforms the Nets into a dramatically more interesting offensive team. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie did yeoman's work for a lot of Kyrie's absence, but now they just have more creators, and they got Karis LeVert back recently as well. So I'm excited to see that, and then also how Philadelphia's defense looks without Embiid. I mean, Horford stepping into the center role can do a lot, but for tonight's game, this might be the matchup of the night. Is Matisse Thybulle is going to start in place of Mike Scott, and I'm assuming he's going to at least partially have the job of chasing Kyrie down. They'll probably use Josh Richardson for some of that time as well.
Yeah, you'd think Richardson would get the first assignment. Maybe in clutch time it'll be Ben Simmons because there isn't really anyone for Simmons to guard in the front court with more size. And I think Simmons might be their best defender on point guards, even given how awesome Josh Richardson is. They've gone with Ben Simmons on those guys late in games. The other thing I'm going to be watching closely is the pick and roll defense for Philly. We saw they hung back against Boston. Kemba Walker burned them early. They started getting Al Horford further out on the floor. That seemed to work pretty well for them. Then in their game against Indiana on Monday, it was Horford laying back. That worked well throughout most of the game, but they did give up a couple of off-the-dribble shots to Malcolm Brogdon late in the game. Then they changed up after that in the last couple of minutes, and it worked a little bit better. If Kyrie really gets going, Dinwiddie is starting also next to him. If those guys get going, that'll be interesting. And then Dinwiddie, I think this is a better matchup for him than if Embiid were playing because he doesn't really have much mid-range game. He's going to try and get all the way to the rim. Less rim protection for the Sixers is something that should help him.
Yeah, and I might try to square Dinwiddie's minutes with. I mean, unless that's right. Nova Pell is dealing with the two-way issue.
He's still back though.
He's still back for a
couple more
little
days.
bit.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't think I think you still would rather have Dinwiddie on the floor in those minutes. Maybe they kind of shift the rotations a little bit to give LeVert more time in the minutes that Horford's on the floor. It's gonna be interesting.
Also want to remind you guys to join us on the NBA's Twitch channel tomorrow. That's going to be Boston and Milwaukee, second matchup of the season between those two teams, two best teams in the East so far. And that'll be a lot of fun. The NBA is letting us broadcast on there, so it'll be only on Twitch, but hopefully you guys can sync up with us there. And also, we will be taking questions on the NBA's Twitch channel as well. So this is our first chance to work directly with the NBA, and we hope that you will support us with that.
And if anybody is on a different, you can use whatever service makes you happy. But those who are looking to use the functional pause button of YouTube, you can do that. Just check out Nate's Twitter feed. It has the link for YouTube for this time. And we answer questions for those who are wondering. We answer questions from YouTube, from Twitch, and from Periscope.
Absolutely. Just trying to actually get my comment window open here. Which I have not succeeded in doing yet.
I have them all open, so I can.
All right. Well, I'll next commercial, I'll get that done. But let's get started here with Jared Allen tipping off against Al Horford. Horford winning the tip and gets it to Simmons. He'll be guarded by Joe Harris. Simmons really hurt the Nets last year. They did not have the size to deal with him, and they did not have the size to deal with him on that play. And you saw Al Horford keeping Jared Allen away from the lane. He was not able to provide any help. Nets first possession. Little 5-3 pick and roll. Interesting initial play call there to try to get Jared Allen going to the rim. Thybulle was able to react quickly enough, but a foul was called. Thybulle, they took advantage of him turning his back just a little bit. The cut was made, and then you don't see that type of play very often, though, right?
You don't.
So that's a good little play call. I like that one. To pick and roll for your 5-man.
Something that I want to watch in probably the first quarter and then throughout this game is the shot mix that Philadelphia gets. Brooklyn, for a lot of the season, their biggest strength defensively has been getting opponents to take their shots in the quote-unquote right places, and Philadelphia has a different mix right now than they usually do, and so I'm really interested in how that works out.
Here's Simmons going right at Prince. Again, there's that running left-hander that he's added to his game over the years, but couldn't get that one to go. And Kyrie Irving with his first attack here off the screen from Allen. Allen going at Horford, and Horford just stones him. Now Irving eludes Richardson, but he closed him down nicely. Tough fader from Irving is off. And this could be a long night from Kyrie Irving if those are the type of shots he's going to be getting. He's capable of making them, but they got some good contests. Now it's Horford with a big brick.
But
from outside.
I loved what Ben Simmons did there, driving enough to get the attention, then kicking it to the trailer.
Yeah, he loves doing that. He used to do that with Redick and Shamet all the time, too. Prince. Simmons goes over the screen. Prince floats. Wow, that was way off. I don't even know if that was a pass or not. 3-on-3 for the Sixers. Simmons sets up Tobias Harris. Allen with the late close is off. And Horford, what a job keeping it alive, but he throws it away.
And so that is 2 created 3-pointers out of the 4 Philly shots done by Ben Simmons, generating enough attention, and they also had numbers that last time, but both missed.
So Spencer Dinwiddie now, he's guarded by Ben Simmons. Philly with lots of versatility, of course, with their great size to switch 1 through 4. There's Thibault with the block shot. Joe Harris not even remotely expecting it, and Thibault rolls in for the layup past Dinwiddie. That's what Thibault can do, especially if you haven't played against him before. He's going to surprise you like that with the block shot. Dinwiddie into the lane, loops it out to Harris. There's the Sixers, close it down again. Nice pass from Harris, but there's another block. That Sixer length, impactful early. Thibault looks to give up to Simmons. Horford, now Thibault releases from the left wing, and that's off. Thibault definitely very aggressive with the 3-point shot, more than we thought coming out of Washington.
Yeah, and that's going to be important for his development he's going to be a low usage player no matter what. And they're calling an illegal screen on Jared Allen here.
Yeah, and that's one where Thibault was so far behind, and yeah, that's a good call on Allen stepping in, but Thibault is so far behind, but Allen is still worried about him getting the shot block, and he commits the illegal screen well behind the play. Richardson, they get Allen on the switch. I thought we'd see more switching from Allen in his career. He's mostly been a layback towards the rim guy. Gets a decent contest on Richardson there, squirts out, and the rebound for Horford. He blows the layup, though.
Yeah, and so far the Sixers have gotten significantly better looks than Nets, but they haven't converted them, so that's why it's only 4-2.
Pick and roll with Dinwiddie. Simmons falls behind on the screen, and that's a nice finish from Jared Allen over Al Horford. Like that pick and roll work from Dinwiddie, Horford was able to stay behind the ball, but Allen finished over him. Thibault right back to Harris in the post. Size advantage on Dinwiddie. Goes through him on the baseline. Cut from Simmons, but it went through his hands.
Yeah, it looked like that was going to be a dunk.
One thing we can watch here too, Dan, is Dinwiddie blows right past everyone, and Horford never moved. Dinwiddie on the move is got so much speed.
And that's why blow-bys are so devastating, is the defense doesn't have time to recover. And so Horford couldn't get back in time.
So I think one thing I'd like to watch too here is Irving's defense and the overall defensive intensity from the Nets, because they actually stayed in it at 13-13 without Irving, as Horford gets the pick and pop and misses. They stayed in it without Irving, largely due to their defense being a little bit better than average. Now Irving against his old Boston teammate. Both of them switched teams the offseason. Irving's floater over Horford is off, but he rebounds. Harris couldn't control. Joe Harris, and he gets it stolen from behind by Thibault again. Drag screen for Harris right down the lane. Attacks. Oh, that was a beautiful floater. I thought that was going to be off.
I mean, when he didn't use glass, you assume that's going to miss badly, but he just got it exactly right.
Yeah, that might have been a little lucky there. I don't know if that's what
Yeah, it might have been.
Double screen away from the ball for Dinwiddie. Richardson right through it. Dinwiddie stepping back for a difficult 3 that goes. Dinwiddie, disappointing year from 3 so far, but makes that one a pretty tough one on the move. Now Ben Simmons, huge size advantage on Irving, and now Thibault is wide open, had his feet set, couldn't get it to go. Oh, and then Richardson just throws it away looking for Horford. Simmons trying to track down Prince, gets him. What a block, but they're going to get the foul down low on Harris.
Yeah, so you have a couple kind of competing forces in this. I mean, Philly's defense has generated a lot of highlights and also generated a lot of tough shots, but they have had all these miscues handling the ball and not getting securing rebounds. And I mean, the Nets are doing a good job of taking advantage of those miscues.
Yeah, that was a bad foul by Harris because Simmons was right there to just spike that. Prince not shooting it that poorly from 3-point range over the course of the season. As of now, he is 35%, so a little below where he was in Atlanta the last couple of years, but the overall efficiency due to his failures inside the arc has been pretty low, around 50% true shooting this season. But nice start here for Brooklyn. Philly, in their shooting, I think over their last 6 road games, they're shooting 25% from 3. Richardson, who's been good in the mid-range of late, gets in, but misses it. Simmons, again, Philly's hands are everywhere early on. Horford, looking to get Harris into the post. Good recognition by him. Harris creating a ton of space. Easy floater. And once again, you see Jared Allen, the guy who's going to really provide the help there. He was stuck on Josh Richardson on the reset and wasn't able to have an impact. Prince, ball handling. Joe Harris into the lane, cut off by Thibault. Thibault has locked him so far. Now Prince going at Harris, goes for the tough fader in the lane, in and out. Here's Simmons. Oh, he went right through Dinwiddie underneath. And we're seeing here as Kenny Atkinson is going to get a timeout. I know Philly trails right now, but to me, they've had far better of the run of play.
Yeah, I would agree. And generally, in the early going, you lean more towards that than who's actually ahead on the scoreboard because the run of play is more predictive. But as things go on, it can change. We could take some questions, but I think before
yeah, speaking of being predictive.
Yes. It is a new year, and it is time to get real about betting and winning on the NBA. And we try to give you insight, news, and analysis here on the NBA Cast. But what can informed fans do with that knowledge? If you're 21 or over, you can go to bookies.com/NBA for the latest live odds, expert picks, and the best online setup deals anywhere on the internet.
Yeah, they give you the edge and knowledge to crush online bookies into a fine powder within your own hands. And then just go like this and have that powder just float away into the air. So spreads, money lines, parlays, whatever it is, they're giving you the information. You have a read on a game, they'll give you the best deal in terms of the line that you're looking for. They also give you the best deals if you click through to actually do legal sports betting in your state. Perhaps if you are a Sixers fan, you can take advantage of that in Pennsylvania. So go to bookies.com/NBA to get the latest NBA live odds, expert picks. Get Stratman. We'll have to check in on him in a later read. And of course, follow at Bookies on Twitter.
We can also mention people in the great state of New Jersey, the former home of the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get to some questions.
If you're the Nets this summer, do you pay Joe Harris? If not, do you trade him at the deadline? Yes, I do pay him because they're now capped out. Joe Tsai is going to pay the tax. That's what Sean Marks said just recently. So with that being the case, I think you would have to say you keep him because they have no way to replace him. They have full bird rights on him. That's a way that they can add salary. If they lose him, they don't have that real total sharpshooter on the team. Probably, I don't think his market would be much above the mid-level exception just because there aren't that many good teams that have that to spend. And so at the very least, you can always trade him later, either as salary ballast to bring in a third star with Durant and Irving, or just as a guy who can contribute. But no, you get worse next year. You have no way to replace him. You pay him.
Right, and Harris will have more leverage than some players in this situation because he's an unrestricted free agent, so he can try to get an offer somewhere. But remember how few teams have cap space over the mid-level exception. So I think it'll work out pretty smoothly there, and the Nets have all the incentive in the world to try to make it work. Then they can also still use the taxpayer MLE.
What the hell are the Magic going to do at backup point guard with DJ Augustin hurt and Josh Midget, who they let go to bring in Gary Clark? What can they do? I mean, it might be Fournier will probably get a lot of run. He plays with that second unit group anyway.
Well,
Wundu has some ball handling
when
skills.
Carter Williams is healthy enough to play, it'll be him. But
Yeah.
he's an unavailable right now as well. I can't remember the exact malady that has befallen him. And we are back.
Here's Irving. Oh, miscommunication, but look at that closeout into the corner by Thibault. He changed up quickly. Here's a drive by Prince. Prince has a lot of drives that aren't going anywhere so far. These closeouts by Philly are nasty early on. Prince goes to the tough step back on Harrison. Wow, he made it. Very difficult shot. Two of those, the Nets 3-pointers have been tough step back types. And now Philly gets into their ATO. It's Horford at the nail, looking for the Harris post up on Dinwiddie. Simmons, spin move right past Prince. And again, Jared Allen is having no effect right now in the paint because he's stuck on a shooter all the time. Irving has Allen underneath, but Thibault got him again. Danny, that's 3 deflections for him already. And then Simmons with the floating right-hander for the lay-in, tying it at 14. Dinwiddie loads up for a 3. Horford is in that drop coverage we talked about in the open, and Dinwiddie drains it. To me, I would think about having Horford further out on the floor pretty early on here. I think Philly, the only way you're going to lose is by giving up a bunch of threes here. I think early on, and Philly has a habit of looking good early in these games like they did against the Pacers, but their size advantage at every position right now is massive.
Yeah, and that's something we saw in that surprise win over the Celtics when Embiid was also out. And I think it can be hard for opponents to deal with, especially in the one-off circumstances of the regular season.
So we've got Irving, LeVert, and Dinwiddie, all 3 on the floor right now. DeAndre Jordan, nice job stepping out on the floor, not something he's known for. Horford posting up on LeVert. And once again, I mean, this size advantage, it's every position and their shooting, so they are having difficulty bringing help against these size mismatches in the paint. Who said the post-up is dead? You get shooting around that post-up, it can still be very effective. And whether it's Harris, Simmons, Horford, all these guys are going to have a mismatch to attack, and then we get an up and down on LeVert on the baseline.
Yeah, another kind of issue of Philly size because LeVert was trying to get it jumped, was trying to get a passing angle, never had it until he hit the ground.
Well, I put that on Irving because he's just standing.
Could have created more space.
He's standing in no man's land right there.
Yeah. And Philly, I mean, so this is a 1-point deficit for them. They're 0 for 5 from 3 on better looks than the Nets have gotten overall.
Yeah, now the Nets have better shooters.
Yeah, by a little bit.
Looking for Simmons into the lane again. I mean, this is just terrible Nets defense right now. I mean, and yeah, you might say, oh, he's guarding a shooter. Philly hasn't made a 3 yet. At some point, and they haven't made a 3 in the last six games on the road. Now, I mean, they are playing at home, but make him make a shot instead of giving up a dunk. Irving, in and out. He played 32 minutes last night. He's been very efficient in these 2 games, but they got waxed by the Jazz. Now Simmons wants to go at Irving. They swing it around. That leaves Korkmaz wide open for a 3, and he cans it.
Yeah, that's their first make from 3 from the game, but they're over 50% from 2 on mostly real clean looks.
Wilson Chandler's going to come in. That might help the Nets get a little more size. And so the hope would be with Dinwiddie, LeVert, and Irving. I mean, basically the whole concept of this Nets team is like obviated by Philly right now because Philly has defenders at basically every position. And they have guys with the size advantage at every position, and they're spacing the floor out. And then when it's Embiid, he's going to go right through Jared Allen as well. I mean, and if you ever get stuck in a switch, they can't guard a center because they're basically playing 3s at the 4. In the modern NBA, size has been de-emphasized, but when you've got size at every position like Philly, it can be difficult.
I'll do this one quickly and then move to something else. Danny, would you make any changes to your tiers of on the prospects rankings? Yeah, I think I would move Ja into the tier above, but I don't think I'd move him too much higher within it. I just want to see more, but he's been fantastic. And I mean, it's just every game I watched a fair portion of the win against the Rockets yesterday. Every game I'm more impressed with him. So it's building out the sample, and yeah, really impressed. But this one from Cody the Basket Bee is really interesting. Do you think that Ben Simmons could be an effective half-court creator on a different team, a la Giannis?
Yeah, this is a good litmus test. We talked about this in the Indiana game the other day where they've got about as much positional shooting around him now as you could hope for with Horford as your five. And so this is kind of a good test for this with Embiid out. This is the first time he's really played with a stretch five like this. And so we'll see. I mean, against a team like Brooklyn that doesn't have the size to deal with him, I think we've seen him be relatively effective so far. But no, I don't think overall he has enough moves. And I mean, people, Giannis is just even an order beyond what Simmons is physically with his length, his finishing, some of the dunks that he gets dunking on people, the Euro steps, his ability to attack off the dribble. Whereas Simmons, to me, he's just not a dominating enough scorer.
Would you define Pascal Siakam as a true superstar right now, given his obvious struggles against teams with long, mobile bigs? I would not, but it's
well. What is a true superstar?
That's and to me, a true superstar, and maybe I'm just defining it too narrowly, is a player who can credibly be the best player on a championship team.
That was what I was going to say too.
Like, to me, that's the line. And Pascal Siakam, as encouraging as he has done with his larger role, he's not that player yet for me. And that list is, I don't know, like 5-6 guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really have to be a player who has proven that you can have postseason success as a number one option, and at a minimum, be the best player on a team that's won a series. And,
right.
And yeah, I do think that a lot of what he might have been doing very early in the season was driven by some unsustainable jump shooting. And, if he was going to be the player that he was for sure, hitting shots like that the first month of the season, yeah, maybe it's close there. But I still think he can be stopped by the best defenders, and in a way that maybe, a James Harden or a Steph Curry, if you're looking to him, or a Kawhi, you're looking at him at that level of an offensive creator. No, he's below that level. All right, we're back here. Dinwiddie off a 2-screen. Norval Pell has come on, and Dinwiddie with the mid-ranger, not known for that as much. Pell gave them a nice boost the other day against Boston. Korkmaz, they run the old Simmons JJ Redick set. Simmons tried to oop it to Pell, and he was not ready. That set with Korkmaz where they set the screen for Simmons with a shooter almost all the way down at the dotted line, and then he pops out. And Simmons did get deep penetration. But there's an example, Denny, of what we were talking about in that answer, as Dinwiddie tries to draw a foul and they call it late, of Simmons just not quite having enough moves. He doesn't get to the foul line enough. He's not going to just go through guys in that situation.
Well, Ben Simmons is shooting 40% from three this season.
So Dinwiddie, free throw line, a very underrated part of his game. Someone asked me, was talking about Dinwiddie versus Russell. I said I thought it was very clear to me that Dinwiddie is the better player than Russell. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
I thought he was better than him last year.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, I do think Russell might have a slightly higher
there
as far as explosiveness.
And there are certain schemes where it's different, but we're speaking more in the abstract of in the average scheme.
Here's Korkmaz missing a difficult floater over Chandler, but it rebounds right to him, and he drops in a second floater.
Love the good fortune of a guy catching the ball so quickly he doesn't know what to do with it, but got a chance to put it back in.
Nice screen by DeAndre Jordan, but no advantage gained off that pick and roll. Dinwiddie wants another screen, this time going at Mike Scott. Scott with the hedge. Swing it to the corner. Wow, Wilson Chandler covered a ton of ground to get out there. Here's TLC on the drive. Into Korkmaz. Up strong, but Pell disrupts. And it's going to be a loose ball foul. I think it's either Chandler or TLC on this one.
Yeah, and the hedge from Mike Scott...
shot clock violation.
The hedge from Mike Scott nearly produced an open three, but they didn't really move the ball around fast enough.
Richardson looking for Simmons as the roll man now. With Pell in the game, you see how there's a lot more help available at the rim now for the Nets. DeAndre Jordan switching out late clock on Korkmaz. Korkmaz with a brick, and Jordan with rebound. Nice defensive possession from him. LeVert has been quiet so far. Going to look to go at Richardson. No, he doesn't even want to try him. He waits for the screen instead. Now he gets baseline, fakes Pell in the air, and goes up strong. Nice patience there from LeVert, and Brett Brown's going to get timeout with us tied at 23.
And it's interesting how these teams are getting their points in very different ways. The Nets, 9 points from 3 and 6 free throws. The Sixers have 1 made three-pointer and 0 attempted free throws. But part of that's because when they've gotten into the lane, there haven't been many Nets there. Is it realistic for the Sixers to trade Horford to get a better shooter at the 4? It's possible, but I think the whole theory of this Sixers team is to be one of the best defenses of all time and get enough offense, and Horford is an important component of that.
Yeah, they do need to find something though when Embiid is back. Now,
Agreed.
Horford also provides play as the best backup center in basketball, and that's really important for a team that has been known to struggle slightly with Embiid off the floor.
Once or twice. Somebody asked the two Raptors versus OKC. No, this is a national game, and we're interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done the Nets yet.
Yeah,
it's good to
watch Kyrie.
see Irving playing. But yeah, generally we're going to do the national game just because a lot of people probably don't have League Pass who are watching this. Sometimes we'll do a whip around the league, NBA crunch time style. Richardson pulls the 3 as they go under on him. That's off. Nice box out by LeVert on Mike Scott. Looking to push now with Jordan running the floor. Jordan comes back out to set the screen. LeVert attacking Pell. Pell with good defense. Now Simmons picks him up. Excellent communication by the Sixers. Now Dinwiddie attacking the hard hedge. Here's Chandler down the lane. Doesn't want to try Pell. Instead, it's TLC in the corner. That was a difficult catch, though, for behind the backboard. Simmons. Oh, nice look away fake. And he went at DeAndre Jordan. That's the type of play where DeAndre Jordan just doesn't do enough. He didn't even jump.
Yeah, and he kind of stopped moving. He could have taken another cup, tried to get another step to get into position. Nope.
Like, if you're not going to jump to try and block that shot, like, what are you out there for? Here's Chandler with a deep 3. That's the type of shot that they are really going to need from Chandler. You recall he missed the first 25 games of the year due to a PED suspension. So 2-for-1 time here for Philly. They'll run it down another 10 seconds or so, you'd think. Now they go a little earlier than expected. 10 on the clock. Pell just kind of hanging out there, letting Jordan sit in the lane. Late clock. Simmons has to float with the right hand, and Jordan got a piece of that one. And Nets have it. Philly did get the 2-for-1. Because it's going to be more like the 1-for-1 after that shot. LeVert, he's got wide open Jordan, and Pell was way behind the play. I didn't see what happened.
I think he went down involved in the rebounding action and then just didn't get back in the play.
So Philly will run the time down here. Probably going to go with Richardson, who's got a little bit more ISO ability. Simmons directing traffic, telling Pell to get away so he can run the pick and roll with Richardson. Richardson does so, and they'll call the foul here. Doesn't look like we're in the bonus. It's the foul to give.
No, that's only the second foul for the Nets in the entire game.
Good job, though, by Philly going early enough that the foul to give wouldn't disrupt an eventual shot here. They inbound it. Nets look to be in zone. Richardson on the drive into Jordan. Reverse. No. Pell tip. No. And will go in with Brooklyn possessing a 3-point lead. Despite, again, the fact I think you would say Philly outplayed them. Although I will say when Pell came in, Brooklyn, to me, started getting much better shots and looking much more cogent defensively.
Yeah, and that's not a huge surprise. But let's talk about our friends at bookies.com. You and I watch a lot of the NBA, but one of our weaknesses, I guess you could call it, as analysts is that we are not great at converting what we know into gambling analysis. And Mark Stratman, who has covered the Bulls for and the NBA for NBC Sports Chicago since 2012, he has done that, which we have not. And so that he is one of the resources that you get at bookies.com.
Yeah, let's see what Mark's got today. He's got Heat over the Spurs -5.5.
The game is about to start.
Yeah, and he's also got Hornets +11.5 over the Nuggets.
Interesting.
Hornets games, big spreads. They play at such a low pace that sometimes the team just doesn't have enough possessions.
Yeah, they play in a lot of close games. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's also got Rockets -8.5 over the Blazers.
interesting. And so Strawman does that, and you can also, one of the things that I really like about it is they have live updating odds comparisons. So let's say you're interested in that Heat over, you're interested in the Heat spread. Well, maybe it's different at different books, and so you get all of that live updating on bookies.com. You can also follow them at Bookies on Twitter, so you won't miss any of the latest sports betting odds and info, including if sometimes they take our insight and adapt it with people who actually know what to do with gambling.
Yes, thanks for that note that I totally screwed up the advanced stats and never actually switched it to this game. Ben is covering women's basketball in Oregon tonight, so you are left with my pathetic technology skills.
But thank you for the note. All things like that are always appreciated.
Yes.
Here, I'll answer a question quick. I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Do you think Philly should go after Morris and is it Bullock now? Is that what Hollinger said? That he changed the pronunciation? I think those would help with shooting. Their shooting. Philly has a challenge with matching salary because the players who make a lot of money on their team are players that Elton Brand presumably intends to keep. I think they could get Bullock without too much of a problem.
Yeah, he's in like the
because he got that huge pay cut when his injury issue was revealed. So yeah, I think that's worth considering. Philly, not the most asset-rich team in the league, but yeah, if you could get a reasonable price, I think getting shooting good enough to be in their playoff rotation as defenders. And Bullock, I think that he looks better as a defender because he's the only adult in the room on the Knicks sometimes, but still, he's played with some effort.
All right, there we go. Now we can talk some advanced stats. Brooklyn, 117 offensive rating. And Philly right at 125 points on 25 possessions. Irving is back. Wilson Chandler curling into the lane. Floats it over Pell. Not there. Rebound for Jordan, but his tip goes awry. Raul Neto coming in. So this is an interesting change on Monday. It was Neto getting second half backup point guard minutes over his former foil in Utah, Trey Burke. And now Neto coming in. I didn't think Neto had some amazing run, but nor did I see what it was that Burke did wrong early. Here's Irving. Back door. Goes to the tough fader on the baseline. Air ball. Josh Richardson causing Irving some problems with his length and intensity early on here. Neto getting them into the offense. Harris off the Pell screen. Into the lane. Attacks Jordan. Back out to Richardson, who is not really spaced out. He attacks Kurux, who's played better of late. Goes to the fader, and Josh Richardson converts. He's had the touch from mid-range of late, although he couldn't keep it going right at the end of that Indiana game. Two screens for Kurux on the weak side. Now LeVert, backdoor right into Kurux. Oh, that is a beautiful finish from Karis LeVert, Danny.
Yeah, and I think he timed up Thibel's aggressiveness trying to intercept that pass, and that's what gave him the separation, even though he kind of cut into his own man because his own man was in the wrong place.
It is interesting. Thibault, there's almost a learning curve to playing against him, but I think once you get used to it, knowing that he's going to go for a lot more steals, that he's going to materialize in some unexpected places, you can do a little bit better. And now, Jordan
what was that
lost
pass?
It. Now LeVert gets it back. They're looking for Irving. That's taking forever to get into their offense. Now the drive by LeVert. Oh, and Thibault says goodbye on that drive. Probably needed to be a left-handed shot there from LeVert.
And I think is that one steal and 3 blocks for Thibault? It's something
it's 4 deflections that I can remember at a minimum. Inbound to Jordan, looking to operate at the elbows. There's the backdoor. Hold is from Thibault. And so that's twice now LeVert has beaten Thibault on that backdoor. Excellent look from DeAndre Jordan, who has done more facilitating at the elbows of late. Jordan will get a chance to do that again. Good denial by Richardson on Irving forcing him further out on the floor. They're forcing Irving to his left. Now he snakes back to his right. Tried to create space. Didn't want to go over his right shoulder. Now he has to. And man, Josh Richardson is playing some great defense right now.
Yeah, Kyrie 0 for 5 from the field so far.
Here's Harris, gets his man in the air and scores over his former teammate Wilson Chandler. You recall Chandler was part of that trade that brought Harris to Philly from the Clippers. Now Irving looking to attack Pell. They double team. That leaves Chandler's 3 open, and Brooklyn's 3-point shooting keeping him in it right now.
Yeah, and tell me if this sounds familiar. Al Horford has played 8 minutes. The Sixers are +4, and they still trail by 2 in the game.
Harris off a Pell screen gets right to the nail and drains the jump shot. Yeah, I'm interested to see here what Irving can do to get going, and they're going to get an illegal screen on Jordan as Richardson tried to go under. Yeah, they're going to say that the left arm, I think, of DeAndre Jordan kind of hooks the arm here.
Oh, yep, it did.
There it is.
Good call.
That? Great call.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the hip movement and all the kind of the Horford style illegal screening stuff, not the arm hold, but that was a great call.
Quirk's trying to deny Harris, and he breaks up the DHO. Beautiful blow up there. Irving looking to push it. Oh, nice job. He wrong-footed Richardson completely there. Richardson getting ready to follow him over the screen, and he went between his legs to wrong-foot him.
And that's the second advantage really created by getting one of those aggressive Sixers defenders the wrong way, expecting something. That's what LeVert did on the cut.
Jordan at the elbow again, looking for LeVert underneath. Now he pops out. LeVert has the separation, pulls up. Yes, Karis LeVert. That is the shot to me that's going to make or break him as a high-level scorer. If he can make that shot off the dribble to where you really have to guard him out there, and then he can also be a threat off the ball, throw that in with his ISO ability, I think he'd be a really nice secondary scorer. Here's Pell, stopped by Chandler. Beautiful verticality. Nets looking to push it. Irving shifts into high gear. Left-handed is beautiful. First field goal for Irving, and he's given Brooklyn a 5-point lead as Philly continuing to struggle in the absence of Horford.
Yeah, and they'll probably get him back fairly soon, but I mean, it's amazing how this team can, even with some different personnel, can kind of get back into some of the same old patterns. And the Sixers they've actually scored more efficiently so far, but then their defense has been significantly more porous without Horford and mostly without Ben Simmons.
Looking ahead, is Dinwiddie or LeVert more likely to be a part, or is it a part of the KD Kyrie Nets? I think he means
I think LeVert is more likely to be APART, and then LeVert
Dinwiddie is more likely to be
a part.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, number one, Dinwiddie's better. Number two, Dinwiddie was like the first domino that recruited all these dudes to come there.
Yeah, and also while LeVert is a nice player, I think that you can run a 3-man guard rotation with somebody who isn't quite Karis LeVert more easily than replacing Dinwiddie. When fully healthy, KD included, what are the biggest roster needs for the Nets? I think they need a defensive forward. Basically, I don't think Durant, they want or need him to check the other team's best players. Maybe in the playoffs, Durant will step up and do that sometimes, but I also like him a lot as a help defender. And Taurean Prince isn't that dude. He was, in some ways drafted thinking maybe that he could be that guy. He isn't. I think that Taurean Prince can be a part of their forward rotation, of course, but that he's not that guy. So that's one. I think
stretch 5.
I would love to see it as an added dimension. So those would probably be the two biggest. And I think they go after that forward with the mid-level exception, and then they go after, you probably use minimums at the 5, but just get some different looks. That is one contribution that I think the Warriors made to team building moving forward, is the idea that, yeah, you can have a bunch of different minimum centers that all do different stuff, and they're going to be somewhat marginalized in the playoffs, but give them different strengths and somebody will be useful.
Was Ron Artest ever a top 5 player in the NBA? No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, probably his best season was 03-04, his Defensive Player of the Year campaign. They had an unbelievable defense that year, and had it not been for Jermaine O'Neal being limited in the playoffs, that 61-win Pacers team might have actually beaten the Pistons. That was a bit of a rock fight, that series. But I do think that he wasn't good enough offensively, and so it's tough to say that he was ever at that level. I mean, so you had some great Hall of Fame players. I mean, but he was not at the level of a best player on a championship team, which you would normally say for a top 5 guy.
Yeah. Oh, we got asked a question about Gary Harris as a Nugget going forward. I will actually tease Dunked on. That is something we talked a little bit about. We'll dwell on it more if it stays the way that it is right now. We talked about it because we do the Northwest Division deadline preview is what we did for tonight's show.
So Horford is back. Let's see if this opens up the middle for Philly here. James Ennis, this is his first action, I believe, tonight.
I believe so.
And he goes right at Irving and gets it rejected, but right back. And there it is. They went right back to the post-up mismatch. They score off of it, albeit after some difficulty. And it's Horford spacing the floor that allows that. And there's LeVert going at Horford. Horford with the stop. Simmons is back. He's looking to push. Oh, nice pass, but it's just a little behind Harris. It was a interesting pass by him. Good vision, but to snake it through, he had to throw it a little behind.
Well, I think Kyrie was ready to commit the Euro foul, too.
Yeah.
So could have probably just gotten that foul.
Allen has replaced Jordan. That's Wilson Chandler. Wilson Chandler feeling it. Can't get that three, his first miss of the night. Simmons off the Horford rebound. Goes at Harris. Back to Horford. Good close from Allen. Horford will take the three. That's off, though. I want to make Al Horford hit a couple of these if I'm these Brooklyn centers who are not helping because of him. LeVert with the step back. That's way off. Simmons. So this is... Philly is going under on a lot of these screens, and they're still getting good contests with their length. There's Simmons going right at Allen. I like the aggressiveness. That was way off, and now he's not getting back on defense. This leads to a Chandler open. Nice job by Ennis, but it leaves Harris wide open for three. And that all started with Ben Simmons. I think he wanted a foul. He got a little discouraged and didn't get back.
Yeah, and Brooklyn, something to keep in mind, they've only committed 3 fouls in this entire game. Only 5 for Philly, but 3 is crazy low.
Horford at the nail. They love this set, and they're going to get yet another bucket off of it. They tried to front Harris, and Horford's such a good passer. You got to know when Horford is getting it right there at the nail that they're going to try and get it in. So to the post-up. Oh, there's Thibault
again.
He got Irving again. I mean, is that 4 block shots? It's at least 3.
I think it's 3 credited.
Now Thibault is wide open that nobody knew who had him, and he drains a 3. And, wow, I mean, it has been a huge change just with Horford back on the floor and obviously Simmons as well, but Philly right back.
And I want to mention one of the other elements that Horford brings in is that he's such an adept passer. So if you have him with the ball, and he can be one of their inbound or interior passers to like Tobias Harris on that play, like his touch and getting
here,
it to
look
the
at
right
this.
spot.
Look at the way he almost like bends his elbow to avoid hitting him in the head and still gets the block. I mean, there are very, very few players in the NBA who can make these kinds of plays. And Thibault, we mentioned on Monday, he had a really rough last few minutes. Despite that, Brett Brown started him tonight, maybe because the nets are smaller, maybe because Mike Scott can't hit a shot lately. And that decision is paying off so far here. Which cat attacked the TV? That was Caprica 6. She's 3 is not interested in YouTube videos for cats.
I mean, YouTube videos for cats probably weren't on TVs when 3 was in his formative years.
Yeah, no, he just doesn't understand new technology. He's too old for it.
Yeah.
He's the cat version of a boomer.
Is it possible for Caris LeVert to fit on the Nets roster if he improves in some ways? Alternatively, what teams could use him? I mean, I think for me, it's just becoming a more reliable shooter is the way that he can, because then as an off-ball player, because when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are on a team, everybody else is an off-ball player to a significant degree. I think that's probably the biggest thing that he can do. I'd like for him to get a little bit more reliable defensively, but those would be the big ones.
I just turned on the game. Have the Sixers been running 4 out around Simmons, and has it been working well? I mean, it hasn't necessarily been around Simmons. It's really been more that they've been attacking whoever has the size mismatch and allowing Horford to either space the floor or enter the ball, and they've gotten a lot of buckets by just overwhelming some of these smaller Nets players physically.
But they are largely playing 4 out, just not in that in the way that some other people would think of a 4 out system.
What is Karis LeVert's ceiling? Do you have any comps for him? Who?
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, his ISO game at 6'7" is very intriguing. And he's kind of a limited shooter. You know, his finishing has gotten better. Defensively, I think him is kind of average. So that's better than a lot of players of that type. You know, it's tough to say. Is he like a high-scoring two-guard on a good team, or is he, bench scorer? I think it's still too early. We haven't seen him do it enough and stay healthy enough that you can say that. But, I mean, I think his ceiling, I think it's possible he could be, a lower-end all-star.
Yeah, he can create more. He probably need to be on a different team for it, but yeah, I could see it as a possibility.
All right, we're back here.
Oh, someone said peak Ricky Davis. I don't know Ricky Davis.
I don't think they're quite similar players. LeVert is, I think, better than Ricky Davis ever was. Excited for Zion's debut? I'd be a lot more excited if it were on Monday instead of Tuesday, but yeah. So Dinwiddie is back. Irving getting another rest. Harris with the 3, and they're going to wave it away as Ennis, I think he went through Jared Allen. And yeah, I was actually saying this the other day on Twitter that if you're beaten like that by a really good shooter and your team isn't in the bonus, why not just foul that guy running through the screen? Harris, they screen for him again, and that Harris cashes out again on Ennis. So good job by Atkinson to go right back to that same matchup. Horford off the screen, misses the elbow jumper. Again, I'm going to make Al Horford hit some shots. Nice second-level pass by Dinwiddie, but Thibault is right there. He's going to get called for the foul. They're going to wave off that shot, though.
And I'm sure I'll talk about this at halftime, but the shooting disparity between these two teams is so striking. 8 of 12 from 3 for the Nets, 2 of 9 for the Sixers. I mean, that's a lot of points.
8 of 12 from 3, that's insane.
8 of 12.
Well, that shows, I mean, if they make a normal amount, like 4 of 12 or 5 of 12, they're like well behind in this game.
Yeah.
You'll have to check out the shot charts, actually, at the next break. We haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah, and Kyrie's already at 15 minutes. He's sitting down right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he's sitting for the rest of the half.
So, Danny, that is the third back cut in 7 minutes that Karis LeVert has gotten. I really appreciate what he's done against this Philly pressure.
Yeah, and Karis LeVert doing work off ball is good preparation for next year.
And now that foul is committed earlier, had them primed to get into the bonus, and LeVert, not the greatest free throw shooter, I don't think. I think he's only kind of in the 70s, which doesn't bode incredibly well for him becoming a real plus shooter. Misses that one. Gets the second, though. 5-point Brooklyn lead as they restored order after that Philly run. There's going to be a post up again, it looks like here. Yeah, they're trying to get Simmons, but it's Allen on him instead. But Allen's going to get called for a foul. That is a bad foul by Jared Allen. That one, just let Ben Simmons catch the ball and guard him with your 7-foot length.
Yeah, release and just get back a little closer to the basket.
So now we'll have the joy of Ben Simmons. Oh, no, he's not going to shoot free throws. I thought he was standing at the foul line, but he was just doing that to run the play. Here's Harris looking for the roll. Instead, it's a drive by Korkmaz, and Allen comes over for the block. They're going to get a foul down low, though, here on Dinwiddie. Oh, no, sorry, it was Joe Harris.
And they were trying to get another play there of Horford posting up Dinwiddie, but then Korkmaz just ran it himself.
And I think part of the adjustment has been, that was a pretty impressive block by
That was
Allen.
close to a goaltend, but I think it was clean.
Yeah, it could have been a 3-point play, too, if he hadn't blocked it. So,
yeah,
good play. I think the Nets are trying to pressure the ball a lot more and just make it overall more difficult to get these passing angles. Front, try to get some help on the weak side. Allen finding Levert out of the corner. Here's the drive. Nice alley-oop on the open side. Pick and roll there. And part of why that works, Danny, is normally Korkmaz would be the guy to provide that low man help, but he's guarding Joe Harris, who shakes up out of the corner, and Korkmaz felt he couldn't leave him. Here's a nice, tough drive by Simmons, and he's going to go to the foul, and he went right through the body of Allen.
And all that stuff I said about the Nets not committing many fouls, I think the Sixers are close to the bonus now.
So we've seen this a couple of times here. It looked like that was the base matchup of Jarrett Allen actually guarding Ben Simmons, and they're putting Prince on his old Atlanta teammate Horford. I think those guys played together for 1 year. Yeah, Prince was 2015 draft, so they did.
Yeah, and that's something that makes intuitive sense when you think about how these match up, because then you actually get the benefit of Jarrett Allen around the basket.
Yeah, and Al Horford, hey, you want to post up? Okay, fine, but we're going to have our center there to help out if you're going to try and overwhelm our guys. So you want to take a jump hook or a jump shot over Taurean Prince, be our guest. Dinwiddie waves away Allen to go screen for Harris. Dinwiddie gets it back. Simmons is on his back. Nice pass from Dinwiddie. Perfect pocket pass in front of Horford, and Allen with the monster jam. Korkmaz picked up by Allen, then throws it away. Joe Harris looking to push it up, and Simmons commits the foul. This will be free throws for Joe Harris.
Yeah, committing a euro foul when the other team is in the bonus and has a good free throw shooter, not as good of an idea.
Yeah, especially because Simmons can get in foul trouble at times. And that's a good job there. Ben Simmons, he points to this. Watch this replay. He's pointing to Tobias Harris. I think he was saying, you need to get over further. But
yeah, you want to make the read and pass there if you can. But I mean, he was already in the air.
Well, part of what was really good there by Allen too was he got a lot of separation from the ball handler to make it more difficult for Horford to cover both him and the driver.
Joe Harris missed both those free throws.
That's bad. Yeah, so Brooklyn, this adjustment has looked good. Yeah, they got the center on Ben Simmons again. It's DeAndre Jordan. And this is, that question about Giannis, right? Like, Giannis, even if he has the center on him, Giannis is just going to go through that guy and try and score him. We've seen Simmons try to do that. He hasn't been that effective yet. Here's Josh Richardson in the mid-range. Nice pull-up jump shot. Philly back within 5. Dinwiddie calling out the play. They've done it with Irving on the bench here. Swing it back to Harris. Harris on the drive. Goes through Korkmaz, but blew the layup. And Jordan with a little bit of a lucky tip-in. Push it back up to Korkmaz. He comes off the screen wide open. Yeah, DeAndre Jordan not even thinking about getting out there, but Korkmaz can't hit. Dinwiddie looking to push again. They do. One of the things that I'll say about Dinwiddie is they've got a little bit better offensive pace with him, both in the full court and in the half court than when it's Irving. There's Simmons trying to go through Jordan again. I love
and at least Jordan was there that time, and that's what you can do. It makes it harder. You have to lay it up around a person as opposed to just going straight by.
Yeah, he was actually.
Did Jordan get hurt?
Yeah, it looks like the right hand is what he was looking at. He's I think he has to just get his he might have dislocated his finger and he's just putting it back in. Yeah, you can tell by the way he is pointedly not looking at his own hand. That's one of the few. Taurean Prince was 2016 draft. Oh yeah, he was. So then he did never play with Horford. That's one of the few injuries that I've never actually had. So and I'm lucky.
You're more of a lower body injury connoisseur.
I broke my wrist once, but yeah, and I've got like lower back problems. But yeah, I've never actually dislocated any joint anywhere on my body, thankfully.
I don't think I have. I know I screwed up a finger in soccer, but I don't think I dislocated it.
Yeah, Jordan immediately grasped for that hand. They should feature other areas of Brooklyn like Dumbo. Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty hilarious. I've always felt like the Brooklyn hipster was underrepresented as a Brooklyn mascot. I made the joke years ago that they should just have this hipster,
Just
as
like
their mascot.
have a Williamsburg Brooklynite.
Yeah, just like completely understood. Now the hipsters have been priced out of Williamsburg for some time now.
That's dating how long ago I've spent time in Brooklyn.
Yeah, maybe like you could have Park Slope with like just a little baby getting pushed in a stroller, maybe a dog on a leash.
So according to Bontemps, DeAndre's now going back to the locker room.
Feels like you guys have done Philly games for every NBA cast. Yeah, I mean it's just been the best game every week. Like the rest of the games haven't been that great.
Karis LeVert just pushed down Ben Simmons. Oh no, that was Dinwiddie. Sorry, Karis. You're good. Wait, what the hell? Did the ball just like bounce off? Oh, they were throwing it to the ref, but there were like 5 players there, so they all ducked. That was great. I was trying to figure out what the hell happened there. Well, and remember the Sixers had this huge advantage when Horford was on the floor early. That has not happened since he returned.
Zone, and the Sixers immediately get TLC way over. I mean, he was the guy on the right side of the zone in the 2-3. He's way over across the nail, and he couldn't get over to Richardson. Now Dinwiddie looking to get Simmons on his back. Now gets it back from Allen. Oops. Oh, nice play by Horford to retreat and knock that away. And again, he's not worried about the mid-range game of Dinwiddie. He's already retreating back to Allen before Dinwiddie has even made the pass.
Yeah, I think he saw Dinwiddie pick up his dribble, and then he realized there wasn't really a layup chance there. Oof.
Richardson off the Ennis rebound. Irving just... What is that defense? I mean, if you reach in and it's accompanied by like moving your feet to try and get in front at the same time, it's a lot more effective than just reaching and committing an obvious foul like that. And now they switch up to hide Irving on the backside against Ennis. Here's Dinwiddie with the late contest on Korkmaz, but he can't cash that out. Irving ahead to TLC. Irving back cutting on Simmons, but Horford cuts him off. That's the shot that Irving loves, though. That going to his right, kicking the right leg out, and had a word or two for the Philly bench. Now Irving is guarding Simmons. I don't know if this is zone still, but Horford makes him pay with another 3. The 2 possessions that have looked like zone from Brooklyn haven't gone too well.
And Philly's attacked really quickly in both.
Yeah, I like that. Just with no hesitation. Irving, left-handed floater in the lane goes awry. Now Irving just doesn't really know who he has, and that leads to some communication difficulties. Simmons, as Dinwiddie's guarding, this is good. They're gonna have to send help here. He's got a huge size advantage. Goes baseline on him and
nice
lays it in.
Reverse pivot there.
Yeah, beautiful drop step, using the leverage of Dinwiddie against him. Now it's Dinwiddie guarded by Simmons, gets into his body, and Horford with another stop. Horford has made 3 straight stops here around the rim. Can Nate turn up his mic? Did that help at all? I think it's a little closer now. They're looking for TLC on the weak side, then looking for Irving. Now he's forced to go screen for Dinwiddie. Nothing going on in this possession with the Sixers topsiding. Dinwiddie, oh, what a move on Horford. He tricked Horford into thinking he was backing it out. The little fake spin Smitty, and gets the lay-in. So Philly, can they get the 2-for-1 here? Horford can't get room against TLC. They did not get the 2-for-1. Ennis's jumper over Jared Allen goes.
That's found money. A James Ennis pull up deep 2. Yeah.
So less than a 1 second differential here as they'll run the time down. Irving directing traffic. He wants Prince to go screen Dinwiddie and involve Korkmaz in the action. They don't switch it. Here's a drive by Prince against Korkmaz, and he couldn't get the layup, but a nice tip from Allen, giving Brooklyn a 3-point advantage going into halftime. Nice execution by the Nets at the end.
Leading scorer in the game is actually Ben Simmons, 15 points on 7 to 10 from the field, split his 2 free throws, also has 3 assists and 4 turnovers. Leading scorer for the Brooklyn Nets, Spencer Dinwiddie, 14 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 free throws, 3 assists.
Yeah, and a solid +5. Irving, despite a 3-point Nets lead, 4 points, 2 of 9, -10.
And worth remembering that both of his made baskets were not with Josh Richardson on him. One was that play when Horford got him on a switch, and I can't remember who the other one was on, but it was not Josh Richardson. Well, let's take a beat before we'll get into a lot of your questions and analysis.
Well, here we got to get the halftime line.
Oh, okay.
Before we can do that.
Okay, sorry, I screwed up the tease.
But yeah, well, let's actually check out the shot charts. I said we were going to do that.
Yeah.
We haven't looked at that yet. Those can usually give you an idea of, who might be over or underperforming. And very interesting stuff here. Philly, 7 of 11 from floater range. Nets are 0 for 7. Although, they've had some decent looks there. Others have been pretty well contested. But the Nets, of course, making up for that with this crazy shooting from downtown. Nets 3-point shooting is 8 of 14. They've missed their last 2 to drop to a mere 57% from 3. But they like to take a ton of threes. The 14 allowed is not that many. And again, you're seeing Philly, the way they're doing that is just with their great length out in the perimeter. They're not bringing the center way out there. These pick and rolls, just the on-ball defender is just so good that he's taking away these 3-point looks.
And both teams are shooting a similar rate in the restricted area. Brooklyn, 11 of 17. Philly, 12 of 17. But one of the huge differences is Philly's jump shooting. They are 5 of 17 on shots outside the paint so far in this game. And they're not making that up from the free throw line. The Sixers have only gotten there 4 times, which is less than half of Brooklyn's 10.
Who's your favorite for the 8th seed out west? The San Antonio Spurs, as of right now.
If we get another week or 2 of this Memphis run, then I might start to be there. And they played great when I've watched them, but I just want to see more of it. Sort of like John Morant. And then if the Pels can kind of piece it together, if Derek Favors, if you could guarantee me that he'd stay healthy, I might pick them, but I just don't trust it yet.
All right, I'm going to take a short break. Give me a couple minutes here. I'll be back. Reload on the tee. You need anything?
No, I think I'm good, thank you. Should the Sixers trade Ben Simmons? I mean, if you could get commensurate value for Simmons on a player, not only in terms of like player quality, but not somebody who's like way older or anything like that. Yeah, I would say conceptually that you should, because I think that, Simmons and Embiid, offensively, defensively, they're wonderful together, but offensively, they're not additive talents. They're not the type of players, they don't make life easy. One doesn't make life easier on the other. And that matters a lot more when one of them is going to have the ball in his hands a lot, and then the other is a ball dominant for a big. And so, yeah, if you could make it work, the problem is, how the hell do you get equal value to Ben Simmons? He's a very talented player if an imperfect scheme fit, and there aren't that many teams that have players as good as him that they're just like, oh, well, we need Ben Simmons. So I think that they should consider it. They should be kicking the tires on a bunch of different concepts, and but I'm doubting that an actual trade happens. Grit and Grind says Simmons half-court value is horrific. I'd use him as a roll man. Yeah, you can do that from time to time, but and I think he can develop better instincts there. But then that creates some challenges in terms of, well, where the hell is everybody else and who is running that pick and roll? And Philly at this point doesn't really have that other guy that I really trust to be the initiator in the pick and roll. But conceptually, if you could get that guy, sure. But yeah, and somebody else, Q Wiggle, noted that we don't really see Simmons as a roll man, and that's true. It is a more conceptual thing because they don't do that.
Yeah, the times that they've tried it, it's looked pretty good. He gets on top of the rim pretty quickly. He can make the decisions on the short roll. The problem is you can probably switch him a little bit more easily. Could I weigh in on the should they trade Simmons thing?
Of course.
Again, I don't know who's out there for them to trade for right now. And obviously they can't do it anyway this year. I want to see how it's going to work this year. I mean, they're such a weird team. But I mean, we're seeing tonight, even with them losing, to me, they just caused so many matchup problems against so many teams.
Including the Bucks.
Yeah.
Which is the preeminent concern. Do you know if we have the halftime stuff yet?
Oh yeah, 1 second.
I will answer another question.
We do. No, I think we got it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, the Sixers are now 2.5 point favorites at the half, down from 6.5 before the game. The game over under is up to 226, and the Sixers are minus 157 on the money line. Nets are plus 125. Well, how is that useful to you? Well, comes courtesy of our friends at bookies.com, and they have click-throughs, the best deals on live legal sports betting, if it is legal in your area. So go to bookies.com and check that out, and you can get all of this information there.
Yeah, and that's particularly relevant in this matchup because Philadelphia, New Jersey, and other places where it's legal for people who are 21 and over, you can check it out. And having different options to see if maybe there's a place that has a different line. You could check that out there. And bookies.com, if you're looking for spreads, money lines, totals, or parlays, you can get information there. Knowledge is money, so you can learn and earn at bookies.com.
Yeah, I'm going to send out a few more tweets here because without Ben, if you guys want to retweet us, that would, of course,
yes,
would always be appreciated.
This is a good question from Anthony Perez. Who would be an ideal center for Ben Simmons? And is it Karl Anthony Towns?
Whew. Yeah, that's interesting. You'd be hard-pressed to put your center on Ben Simmons in that situation.
Yeah, and Towns, I mean, I do like some of the stuff he can do with the ball in his hands, but, I mean, I think you could do, I think somebody more in the Seth talked about this a little bit in a piece we did collaboratively today, the 3-and-D centers, like maybe Miles Turner or Brook Lopez would be interesting too.
Yeah, but you could also say
then you could put your 4, yeah.
Right, yeah, we're going to put our center on Simmons.
Yeah.
Still.
Towns is a great one. I mean, it's hard to get Simmons and Towns on the same team, but yeah, that'd be conceptually, that's a pretty damn good fit.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson was one that was mentioned as well, although I think Jackson to me is a little more switchable. I mean, because and Porzingis is mentioned too. Yeah, like those are all great, but those guys can't post up if you don't keep your biggest guy on them. Where I mean, Jackson can post up some, but he's not like amazing at it. I mean, Towns as a great outside shooter and a post player. Lopez is also a pretty solid post player, but he's just kind of, he hasn't been used that much that way.
Mm-hmm. Is Kevin Durant at 80% next year enough to make the Nets contenders as presently constructed? No.
I don't know if him at 100% is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to ask. The Nets still have a lot of work. And remember, like, the way that I've phrased this for a long time is to be a real championship contender, you need to be elite on one end of the floor and at least pretty good to very good on the other. And the Nets, they have some of the components to be a really, really good offense, but it's not like they have just this insane level of defensive talent when you look at their team, and they can do some scheme stuff, but you have to stop the best. And so I don't think it's hard for me to see, even with like a 90 or 100% Durant, them being in the same group as let's say the Lakers and Clippers that we already know, and wherever Giannis is, if it's not the Bucks, if he's there, and wherever else, I'd assume they'd be damn good too.
Just came through. DeAndre Jordan is out for the game with a dislocated right middle finger. So that's going to be really interesting because they don't really have a backup center. Now they're lucky enough that the two centers they do have are extremely durable, and I imagine Jordan will be back at some point soon. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if Nick Claxton is even back yet from those hamstring issues. I'm gonna look that up right now. Ah, yes, he returned to action a bit ago against the Magic and played 2 minutes. So maybe we'll see some Nick Claxton Norville Pell matchup. I thought Jordan actually, in large part, played well in the first half.
Yeah, he had a few possessions that bothered us, including that one
His
where he didn't
passing is better than Jared Allen's. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I would say he adds. I mean, some of those back doors he had were really nice.
Yeah, I would say he was totally fine overall in that first half. And so now they'll have to go in a different direction. And Jared Allen played 14 minutes. I mean, maybe you could get him into the low 30s, but I don't think you want to really run him too hard in the rest of this game.
Who overpaid more in their trade, the Clippers or the Lakers?
Well, I
This
think
being for Kawhi and for AD.
no, for Paul George and for AD.
Oh yes. Well,
I mean, but you could argue.
yeah. What's the context? I mean, if you want to just say, here's what was traded for AD, who's better than Paul George and younger, or here's what was traded for Paul George, yeah, you'd probably say that the Lakers got the better deal. I mean, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is by far the best piece that was traded in that deal, I would say.
Yeah, which is
at
amazing.
The time.
Now
Ingram may be that, but he was. I mean, remember he had the DVT at the time. Like he was, not at all and he also, wasn't this awesome 40% 3-point shooter on 6 attempts a game either.
So I would say, yeah, and so then the other part of it, I mean, you were kind of leaning into this, is that how credible was Kawhi's belief or whatever that if they didn't get Paul George or an equivalent level talent that he wouldn't come. And to me, if it's a package deal, then the Lakers overpaid by more because the Clippers built a championship team, and championship caliber team. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the way we go. But yeah, I mean both of them gave up a lot, but both of them are getting a whole hell of a lot for it.
Yeah.
Ben Taylor brought it up on his pod a while back, but would you think about a Spencer Dinwiddie for Josh Richardson trade for both teams? Thought it made a lot of sense. Richardson Kyrie is interesting because you can then theoretically you could have Richardson his primary assignment would be on whoever the other team's best guard is. In some ways, it would probably roll kind of like Klay Thompson on the Warriors, where you just put him on the person you can hide Kyrie more in man coverages. Obviously, zones are different. I don't know for the Sixers. Like Dinwiddie, if you trade for Dinwiddie but you keep Ben Simmons, I think that it just kind of creates some problems. You'd have another ball handler for when Simmons is out, and maybe you could stagger Simmons and Embiid more aggressively. But I think I like Richardson better for the Sixers than Dinwiddie. How about you? But it's a worthwhile concept to be damn sure.
No, I think I'd rather have Dinwiddie.
Interesting. So then do you think it makes sense for kind of both teams?
Yeah, although it's also the kind of trade that never actually happens between
Sure.
contenders unless the Boston Celtics are involved.
Is Porzingis the second best player on a title team? I think he could be. You would need a really good number one, and Luka might end up being that number one. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think they still, as we talked about, I think they still have a ways to go because they need one more pretty good ball handler and distributor, and they also need at least one more really high level at 3-and-D guy. But yeah, Porzingis could be the second best, and then you have those guys who aren't maybe in the highest tier of that archetype.
yeah. Are the Sixers or Celtics closer to being an Eastern Conference favorite for this season and next. The Sixers are closer for this season, and I think they're closer for next. Neither team has a ton of flexibility other than the Memphis pick, which is looking less and less valuable as they keep winning games, especially because this draft is not highly regarded. I just think the Sixers have more talent. I think their talent in the playoffs will make a little bit more sense. Like, we've seen the Tatum's and Browns of the world struggle a little bit against the best physical talents. The Sixers are a great story, but I just think the Sixers are better. So I'll go with them.
All right, we are back here. And Spencer Dinwiddie will kick things off for the Nets. They try to get it to the elbow. Good pressure, forcing him out on the floor. Now they finally get it to Allen. Looking for Kyrie out of the corner. Topside by Richardson prevents that. Allen tries to drive. Oh, and he
look
dunks
at that!
on the head of Horford. That's one way to deal with getting pressured up out on the perimeter. Once you beat your man, everyone else is pressuring so much that there's no help available. Horford, step back to his left, way off. He's had some bricks tonight.
Yeah, Horford is, I believe, 1 for 5 on three-pointers so far.
Prince against Thibault, gets past him, attacks, and scores. Nice drive there. He used his strength to neutralize the shot blocking ability of Thibault. Hand off to Richardson out of the corner, into the lane, floats over Allen. Then Josh Richardson did a great job there of protecting the ball and floating that up. He's shown some nice mid-range touch tonight. Dinwiddie has Simmons behind him off the double screen. Horford picks him up. He waves everyone away. He wants to go at him. Fakes the step back. Baseline. Finds Allen. Oh, and he's bridged, and that's going to count. What a finish. And Ben Simmons, he reacted just enough to Dinwiddie that Allen was able to cut out of his vision, and Dinwiddie sets him up beautifully.
And I believe if Jared Allen makes this free throw, that'll be 7 points on 3 possessions so far in the half.
Wow, yeah, they've surged out to a nice lead so far here.
But he misses the free throw.
Simmons looking to push up. Allen has to react to him. That leaves Harris open for the 3. And that's all, Danny. That is just Ben Simmons deciding, yeah, I'm going to dribble up court really fast. and he didn't even, not even like he had some amazing opening. You'll see Draymond Green do that same thing sometimes, at least back when, he was trying and the Warriors were good. Here's Harris going right through Richardson, but Richardson stops him. Rebound Kyrie. He wanted a foul. He gets it tipped to him as he's complaining. Now Harris, Allen on the cut, knocked away beautifully by the Sixers. Here's the push. Richardson, alley-oop, Simmons. No, it was too low, and Prince intercepts. Now it's the chance. Oh, is that between the legs of Thibault? Irving couldn't handle it, but they're still getting... No, Simmons gets back. I thought they're going to get a wide open 3 there. Prince, this is not an advantage matchup. Terrible shot. Terrible shot.
And he didn't even try anything. He just settled for it with 16 originally on the shot clock.
Tobias Harris has been quiet. He floats it over Jared Allen, and that's the shot that the Nets defense is largely designed to give up. They force the most mid-rangers in the NBA. And
after that torrid start for the Nets, they've already been outscored in the second half.
Irving, right elbow. I mean, he is I have this feeling that like 4 years from now, we'll look at him exactly like Chris Paul, of just getting to the right elbow every time on those shots. Thibault has Harris behind him. Mid-ranger from Horford is off. Horford used to be so automatic on those back in his Atlanta days. Richardson late to turn. Irving gets the drop on him. Goes in, tries the oop to Allen. That was ill-fated. And the Sixers were all over it. Now it's Simmons attacking the body of Prince. Oh, he tried to dunk it and just lost it. Small hands from Ben Simmons. That's kind of a problem for him in his finishing. And now Dinwiddie right past Thibault again. And the Nets doing a really nice job in this half of being stronger with the ball, going through Thibault's body and neutralizing his playmaking.
And in what could be a big problem, that's his 4th foul. And Thibault, he's very handsy, he's aggressive, and that can work to his advantage. But when you're playing more minutes and you're playing high leverage, it could be an issue.
He does commit a lot of fouls, and he'll take a seat as Ennis replaces him. Been impressed by the Nets' resilience in this game.
Is Thibault the NBA player most likely to get a 5x5? I feel like it might be him.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, with the demise of Draymond, Probably. It probably used to be Draymond. Now
Yeah,
Simmons is going to get a call here, and that's interesting. Allen can't believe it, but he did turn his right hip into Simmons slightly. We'll see if we can get a better look at it. But generally, if you turn your body on that verticality, you'll get called for the foul if there's contact. Oh, and we're going to see a review here.
Challenge!
Challenge! Here, that guy who's complaining about it not being loud enough. Now you're glad that I have it turned down, aren't you?
I just have to bring it up. Draymond had what I consider one of the most ridiculous stat lines of the last decade, maybe the single most one, where he missed a triple-double 5x5 by a point. He had 4 points, and then
that was in Memphis, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It was just like
in
just
2017?
the craziest game. Josh Craig said he asked this at halftime, but was right at the end and we didn't catch it in time. Just tuning in, can I get a quick catch up of how the game is going so far? I would say the takeaways from the first part, which is largely carried over, is that Philly's defense looks great when they can have their 5 starters on the floor, and that the Nets have had some challenges. I think they did a better job in that early going, attacking the primary matchup and going after it, and Philly was using their spacing and they were picking a size mismatch to go after. But then whenever it was outside of those starting 5s, I thought that Brooklyn just took advantage and was able to really get things going.
And my other takeaway, this isn't necessarily solely for this game, but that Brooklyn now getting back to having 48 minutes of competent point guard play really helps them a ton. And you saw how much they struggled when Dinwiddie was off the floor in the absence of Kyrie and to a lesser extent LeVert. And now they actually are winning those minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, I mean, one of the takeaways of it was how disruptive Matisse Thybulle was in that first half. I mean, he had probably like 4 or 5 deflections. He's credited now with 2 steals and 3 blocks, most of which occurred in the first half. So that was pretty notable as well.
So also worth noting that this would be Jared Allen's 4th foul. Part of the motivation, I'm guessing, for challenging it. I don't think he's going to win this, by the way. We didn't get a great look at the replay, but from what I was saying about the turning of the body, I think there'll be enough to uphold it here. So, yeah, I mean, it might be... I mean, Nick Claxton, for all I know, he might be on assignment right now with Long Island Nets. So they may really have nothing available. And it's not like they have... I mean, it's going to be Wilson Chandler at center for a while here on the second unit, potentially. Which pair of stars best accentuate each other's strengths? Steph Curry and Draymond Green would be my first thought there.
You could also do Steph and Clay.
I mean, they both kind of shoot, though. You know, I mean, I agree, but like Draymond almost like can't be a star without Steph.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Or at least without Steph or Clay. I mean, he definitely was a star in like 2016 when Steph was out. So let's see if we get a ruling here. Looks like they're still lining up for free throws, so it doesn't appear so. Yep. So we'll see whether Atkinson replaces Allen at this point in time. It's another missed free throw for Simmons. He has not shot it well. Only 1 out of 3, 4. Hasn't updated yet. Yeah, reminder to everyone, we talked about this in the open. We're going to be on the NBA's official Twitch channel tomorrow. So it's twitch.tv/NBA. Just to get some, we'll still be taking a lot of questions. I know it might be a little harder for some people to sync up than it is on the YouTube. But we appreciate you supporting us there, and hopefully that's a good showing would lead the NBA to allow us to actually cast games ourselves.
Yeah, that was a pass from Torian Prince that hit the net and slowed it down for Josh Richardson to get the steal.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be better at navigating that given the name of the team that he's on.
Okay.
The Nets is so sorry as a team name. Zach Lowe has been all over that. Just
there are so many basketball team names that I don't like. NBA.
Harris off 2 screens, and it's going to be a foul on Dinwiddie. I think he was just trying to prevent the roll from Simmons and get around him. Brooklyn holding on to a 6-point advantage here.
And their advantage from three has toned down pretty significantly. They're now 8 out of 15. I think they missed all of their 3-pointers in the second half.
Which is one. Here's a 3 from Horford. That misses. He has not had the touch. 1 of 6 from outside. Dinwiddie in transition. Stopped nicely by Harris. Now forced to the baseline. Goes right at Horford, and Horford gets him on the right arm. You see the fantastic acceleration that Dinwiddie has attacking the basket. And he's been the Nets' best player tonight, working on a 17-point night with these free throws. Dinwiddie out of Colorado. I believe he was either the 45th or the 46th pick. Spent time in the Pistons organization, then was involved in a hilarious trade. Do you remember who he was traded for to the Bulls?
No.
Cam Bairstow.
Wow.
In what appeared to just be a trade of total second-round flotsam, but Dinwiddie, I think it just took him a long time to recover from that torn ACL. Oh, and then Prince just throws it away, and Simmons goes right in on him for another bucket. And that was interesting because Dinwiddie was open. Prince didn't want to throw it to Dinwiddie. He wanted to throw it to Kyrie. And Kyrie, I think, was even pointing away, just throw it to Dinwiddie. And he forced it to Kyrie, and Simmons just got the steal. There's Prince in the lane. Those are the type of shots that when you've got Dinwiddie and Kyrie on the floor, those are just not good shots. Now here's a drive from Simmons. He's tied up. Oh, what strength! And Dinwiddie's trying to say, I got him on the floor, but he did not.
Yeah, he was into the gather, I think, when Dinwiddie grabbed him. So that should be an and one.
That was positively LeBron-like from Simmons there, just going right through the wrap-up attempt.
Yeah, he picked up his dribble. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely a continuation.
I mean, what else was he going to do?
Ben Simmons in the midst of another excellent game, aside from his difficult free throw shooting, 20 points, 5 assists. Top side on Harris prevents him from coming off the screen. Then Richardson ties up Kyrie, and are they going to get Richardson for the
I thought he
foul
got
here?
ball first.
You know, I think the whistle came before Kyrie fell down. Let's see if we can catch it here. Yeah, they're going to say that was a foul, and they're wrong. That was totally clean by Richardson.
Now, you could argue that it was a loose foul on Richardson, basically throwing Kyrie down, and so it's a distinction without a difference, but still.
Kyrie trying to create space, cannot. Swings through, and now Simmons just lost Dinwiddie, and they give up a 3. That was not good defense by Ben Simmons. Yep. Good job by Dinwiddie getting open, and Kyrie, excellent pass. Tobias Harris guarded by Dinwiddie. That's a difficult matchup for the smaller Dinwiddie. Harris's 3 is good over Allen, who laid back again in pick and roll defense. That's their scheme a lot of the time, but Tobias Harris, he's been excellent tonight as well. 8 of 10 from the field, the broadcast tells us. Here's Kyrie again, hounded by Richardson, but makes it anyway. Harris has been the hot hand, but picks up his dribble. Swinging around to Richardson. Over the screen. Pulls up in the face of Prince and scores. Josh Richardson has had it working from mid-range. Let's check out his shot chart at the break here.
Yeah, he's 5 of 7 on twos. Or sorry, 4 of 7 on twos.
Yeah, I think all of those have been of the mid-range variety. Here's Kyrie getting past Richardson now. And Al Horford was fearing the alley-oop. Did not get over to help. Sixers right back, though. James Ennis, his 3 is short. Dinwiddie looking to push it. Kyrie wants it. Gets it. Goes at Horford. Double pumps. Missed it. Got great job by Simmons getting back in the play. And what are we going to get here? Yeah, it's a loose ball foul on Joe Harris going through the back of Horford.
And now with 5.5 minutes to go in the quarter, both teams are already in the bonus. So this could be a little bit of a slower end, but whoever stays cleaner could be real beneficiaries.
I think this game is going to turn on what happens when Horford goes out of the game.
Yeah, I agree.
But Horford will benefit from the over-the-back breaker by Harris with a couple of free throws here.
A quick update on scores around the NBA. Detroit leads Boston 88-82 towards the end of the third. Spurs Heat is tied at halftime. The Wizards lead the Bulls by 5 partway through the second quarter. The Timberwolves lead the Pacers by 5 with 8 minutes to go in the second. And Toronto crushing OKC up by 16 early in the second.
Yeah, see, we didn't want to do that game. This has been a good game. I'm glad we're doing
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
game, actually.
And tactically compelling.
That Detroit game, Sekou Doumbouya, 20 points on 8 of 10.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose has 16 points on 8 of 9. Drummond is 5 of 5. And Markieff Morris is 7 of 10. Nice shot there by Prince. Harris had sloughed down to take away the roll. That's exactly, you remember on that earlier play in the first half, Ben Simmons was telling Harris to get down there. That possession, he did that, and that left Prince open for the 3. Here's Harris. Nice recognition to find Richardson in the corner, but he's way off. Rebound Simmons goes into Dinwiddie. Now he finds Harris up top, and Harris makes him pay on the offensive board. Philly within 1.
And Tobias Harris, 9 of 11 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3.
Double screen for Dinwiddie. Kyrie doesn't exactly make contact on these screens very often. And now he's going to draw the foul on Simmons. This will be a shooting foul in the bonus. We'll see whether it's 3 throws or not.
Did you say 3 throws? I guess that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He's going to get 3 throws.
Yeah.
3 throws.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's
So let's just start saying that.
It's concise.
Now, of course, I'm going to screw up the enunciation every single time, but we'll give it a shot. 4th foul for Simmons as Dinwiddie can't connect on the first. Pretty execrable free throw shooting in this game. Philly is 5 of 9, 56%. Brooklyn killing them 10 out of 17, 59%. I'm sorry, no, that's their 3-point shooting. Brooklyn is 10 out of 16 on the free throws. Dinwiddie, 2 of the 3 throws. They go under on Richardson. That leaves Horford open. Missed it. Another pick and pop 3 goes awry for Horford. Good run by Prince, but Nets can't take advantage of that. Instead, it's LeVert trying to put Simmons in the mix. A lot of dribbling, and Ben Simmons didn't allow him to go anywhere. Dinwiddie attacking Horford off the dribble. Good job by Ennis getting through the screen. Still no advantage has been gained on this possession. Dinwiddie's going to have to create late, and he's going to get the call. Nice job by Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah, and Ennis there, I mean, I complain about Biggs not doing this all the time. He didn't trust his size. It's just like, you don't have to go into him. Just get as close as you can, put your hand up, and you succeeded.
Yeah, I mean, those plays are so difficult. You're like, that's a bullshit play. But Spencer Dinwiddie just gets past him just enough that James Ennis thinks he can cut him off. And because Dinwiddie got past him more than he anticipated, that's how he's able to create that contact. So, I mean, that is a basketball play. He is getting past him. But then the smart part is when you feel that illegal contact to accentuate it by taking the shot immediately. And that's why it kind of aesthetically is not great. So
And he doesn't exaggerate as much as Lou Williams does. But that's what Lou Williams is the maestro at.
And frankly, that's something that Kyrie Irving really could stand to do a lot more. That's always been the biggest weakness of his game is getting to the foul line. So Dinwiddie he can't hit free throws again. I think he's had a tough go of it in the OKC loss too. Richardson into the lane. That was good defense from Kyrie to force a pass and get out on Ennis. Here's Raul Neto, who just came on. He'll float it up over Chandler, and it is Chandler playing center, and he went for the block. That left Pell wide open on the offensive glass. LeVert couldn't get there in time to box out. That's a good back screen by Irving to get Neto onto him. That leaves Chandler, gets past Pell, swings it out, and what are we going to get here? A hold on Pell?
Which is free throws because they're in the bonus.
Yeah, he did grab the right arm of Chandler. And so this is going to be a tough challenge for Pell. And if I'm Brett Braun, I might consider going with Mike Scott at center here to match up a little bit better.
I'm sure the broadcast networks are thrilled that Zion is making his debut immediately after 2 national TV games.
Yeah.
And I think we still will probably end up doing part of Pell's Grizzlies for the next NBA cast.
Yeah, because I mean,
it
Ja, we got to do Ja, right?
It directly precedes Celtics Lakers, which is our primary for that. So we probably might as well. I'll be here.
I mean, Ja is like one of the best shows in the NBA right now.
Oh yeah, I think they're right now they're one on the top 5 or whatever for both of us in League Pass.
Pell at the nail, gets Harris off the DHO, pulls up over Chandler. Interesting that the Nets aren't being a little more aggressive switching this. They're kind of having Chandler play a more conventional style. Wow, just thrown away by Ennis. Prince going through 2 guys, but he gets stripped. He tried to do the Harden, but Tobias Harris read it beautifully and got the strip. And we'll take a break here to tell you about bookies.com. How's Stratman doing on his picks today?
The Heater. Let me take a quick look. The Heater ahead. Actually, they're pretty much on pace. I think it was a 5.5 point cover. I think that's doing pretty well. I can't remember. One
Hornets,
of them has
Nuggets,
the Hornets one
Rockets,
hasn't started
Blazers.
yet.
Yeah,
those 2 haven't started yet, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. But what I really like about bookies.com is that it's about information, and that information can be expert analysis, like from the aforementioned Mark Stratman, or it can be just knowing what the spreads, money lines, totals, and parlays are at a variety of legal places for you to wager. And that's especially relevant if you are in the places in the U.S. where it's legal to bet if you're 21 and over, including Philadelphia and New Jersey, which are relevant to this game. So go to bookies.com/NBA for the latest live odds. They have it on a single page, which is great. Expert picks and online sign-up deals.
Yeah, and you can do some futures betting too. Those actually are the ones that I kind of like a little bit more.
Well, and there was a good piece from Stratman talking about how he thinks the Lakers Pacific Division odds are actually too weak, that they're giving the Clippers a much stronger chance. And that makes sense to me. I mean, it's a 5-game margin. And when you think about the incentives involved, yeah, if the Lakers are less healthy, I could see that. But, I mean, it would take a lot for the Clippers to make that up. The Lakers are really good. So I could see that as a reasonable. When he saw that, I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like the type of thing we don't think about as much, but totally right. Now let's see for questions.
How does Kyrie look to you? Fully recovered? I mean, it was a shoulder issue. I think so. I mean, he shot it very well these first couple of games, so. There wasn't really concern about the explosiveness or anything like that. And maybe that's part of why he hadn't been setting the screens as hard, you could say. But he was never doing that. What game are we doing on Twitch tomorrow? That is going to be Boston and Milwaukee. Exciting one.
Not a Sixers game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Boston-Milwaukee is going to be awesome. And really looking forward to that and doing it for a live endeavor.
Giannis is most likely to get a 5x5. Just playing so much more helps. Yeah, he doesn't actually play that many minutes, though, ultimately, in the regular season. But
yeah, I would need to look at
5 steals for him seems like a
exactly. Like that was my first thought. Like, people need to remember how 5 steals and 5 blocks are each a ton, and to do it in the same game is pretty ridiculous. So I'm trying to look up because you can do game highs. So Giannis has had 5 steals in a game a fair amount of times in his career, and he's had 5 blocks a fair amount of times too. So that is a fair point that he has the capacity to do both those, and then the other 3 are well within his range. So yeah, he's a good choice. Draymond is a good choice as well.
All right, we're back here, and yes, Mike Scott, as we suggested, has come in for Pell to play center. So this game should open up quite a bit offensively here. Here's Prince going into Scott. Nice job sliding with him. Throws it out, and they're going to get a walk on Prince. Yeah, he dragged the right foot quite obviously there. 4-point Brooklyn advantage. They run a floppy set. Get it to Scott. Neto passes up the open jumper. Finally, it's Harris. Back to Neto. And
wide
now
open.
he can't pass up that one, but he double pumped it. The hesitation cost him. There's going to be a lot of small dudes who can get some rebounds here. Here's a drive by TLC, and yeah, he
They
shoved
missed
off.
the push off.
Yeah, he shoved off with the right hand. I mean, and again, that's one where, he doesn't push it off too hard, but he's transferring the force to the guy
It's
using
also
his forearm.
why having a fourth official would help, because they were running down the floor and probably missed it.
Yeah. And I mean, that is fair as Harris gets the mid-ranger in the lane against TLC and yet another guy who doesn't have the size to guard him. Reverse the angle of the screen for Chandler. Mike Scott, miscommunication, but Chandler wasn't looking for a pass for Dinwiddie. He was wide open. LeVert going at half of the player that he is, number 11, James Ennis, and he's going to get fouled. You can go to the foul line.
So right now, I just find this so interesting. How the Sixers are making this up. So they've made 9 fewer free throws, 3 fewer 3-pointers, and it's not. And the turnover margin isn't to their advantage. So the shots attempted, but the difference is that the Sixers have been so much more effective from 2, and that's how they're keeping this game close. Philly is over 60%, over actually about 61, and the Nets are below 50%. They're 48.8 per ESPN's tracker.
Another missed free throw from the Nets. Kurix turns down the jumper. Dinwiddie waves him away. They want to go at Mike Scott, double team on Dinwiddie. Oh man, they missed Kurix wide open, but that's okay. Wilson Chandler could just go down the lane with absolutely zero help from anybody. And that's the risk that you run when you put 2 on the ball way out on the floor. If somebody gets past their man after that, you're going to get a dunk like that, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, and also, I mean, this is we get so many of these now, but it's another reminder of why most teams can't go small in the way that the Warriors did, is that when Draymond Green was playing center, they got a lot of those benefits in terms of help defense and rim protection and all that. And when most teams go small, they're sacrificing that deliberately, and it can still be worth the trade-off, but the teams that go small and can actually still defend are few and far between. And that's why we're getting this pretty dang fun end of the third quarter.
So it's a right thumb injury for Daniel Gafford, and he is not going to return against the Wizards.
Is it Cristiano Felicio time?
Yeah, or maybe it'd be Markkanen and Young playing together time for once.
That's not allowed.
It could be the Unicornet time.
Oh no.
5-point game, not quite close enough to try the 2-for-1 yet. LeVert, I mean, they should just clear out here. He's being guarded by Neto. He should just go right through Neto. Instead, Kurix, now they're going to try and do that late in the clock. And that's exactly what he should have done this whole time. That's a blocking foul. And Kurix, he's running towards him to set the screen. Just get out of his way, especially late clock. So more free throws coming for Karis LeVert, who has struggled in that department so far. Just 2 of 5.
Wow. The Pistons are out 19 in TD Garden against the Celtics with 7 minutes to go.
Oof. I mean, they weren't shooting some crazy amount from 3 either.
Derrick Rose with a Kyrie-esque 10 for 11 from the field and 5 assists, 1 turnover in the game.
LeVert hitting that last free throw. 2 for 1 time for the Sixers, but they don't have a ton of guys who can just create that. Neto goes down. He's going to get a foul call here, and he'll shoot free throws. Tough to see what the contact was on the first view.
And there's an opportunity now for Brooklyn if they go quickly to still get the 2-for-1. What do you have a preferred shot release time for a 2-for-1? 30?
Probably 31. Maybe 32.
Yes, that's pretty quick but doable. And notably, I don't think there's a health issue. Trey Burke has not played a single minute in this game.
Right.
And Brett Brown switched between them in their last game, that loss to the Indiana Pacers, and now it's Burke that looks like he is out of the rotation, and Neto has a temporary stranglehold on the backup point guard minutes.
There's LeVert again, and neither Korkmaz nor Neto can guard him, but Apparently he's guarding himself because he can't make a layup.
And now this is a circumstance where the Sixers can basically hold for the last shot. It's a
Yeah, they did
two
not
and a
get
half
out
second
there
differential.
quite fast enough. Richardson changes sides of the court to balance the floor. Pick and roll. They want to go at Kurux with Neto into the lane. Floats, and it's off. Harris almost got the tip. Can the Nets get a shot off here? It doesn't look like they're going to, and in fact it is blocked. So that was actually a smart move, I thought, by Harris. Even though they got a little bit of a fast break the other way, there wasn't time to do anything. So it's actually a good move to go pell-mell to the offensive glass, even though he didn't get it.
Yeah, and that's why teams, I think, should go earlier at the end of all quarters but the fourth, is because teams can't advance the ball with the timeout. So if you get it with 4 seconds to go, especially because it's probably not going to be the other team's point guard that gets it, it's really hard to get a decent shot.
Yeah, guys mentioning Bam as a candidate. That's a good one.
Sure.
AD
Yeah.
as the top candidate. Thoughts on Jared Allen's development and potential?
I would, and it might be scheme, it might not be. I remember when we saw him back at the Hoop Summit in, God, was that 16? I can't remember what year that was. That I thought he had some potential as a jump shooter, and we haven't really seen.
Yeah, he's taken some corner threes on occasion, but yeah, it's not really.
But defensively, I think he's showing growth. I think he's going to be more of that like solid piece rather than a transformational defensive player. But you know, I'm pretty happy with him. Now, the big question with Jared Allen, which is a really compelling one, back when you and I did the center rankings, I think it was 2 years ago, we talked about how there was this big gap between, I think it was like the 11th or 12th best center in terms of value. And it's like, if you're above that group, maybe you can stick on the floor for big possessions. And while the league has changed a lot since then, with the Warriors not existing anymore and a couple other things, is Jared Allen so good that you have to keep him on the floor? I don't think so. And so I would say that's a little bit disappointing as somebody who was high on him. But remember, he wasn't drafted in the lottery.
I mean, it's hard to see. Like, it's going to be incremental improvements for him. He'll get a little stronger. He'll get a little better finisher, a little better pick and roll guy. I do think he has some unexplored ability to switch that just the net scheme has not really tried to unlock yet. So maybe he could be better in that type of a scheme.
So here are the shooting splits so far for Jared Allen. He's taken 3 3-pointers, missed all of them. He's taken 1 shot from 16 feet, so one long 2, and then he's only taken 4 shots beyond 10 feet outside of those.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's an interior player right now offensively. I wish that it, and you kind of think, considering Kenny Atkinson, that if he could shoot those shots, he would be.
I do have concerns about him too guarding the best post-up centers.
Sure, he's a little bit light in the shorts.
And I don't know that he has the body type to ever really match up with those guys. You know, your Joel Embiid, your Karl Anthony Towns, your Jokic. So that's a concern. I mean, I think he's a quality, top 20 starting center in the end. Are there any players who could quickly develop a 3 like Aldridge or perhaps Marc Gasol? I mean, there's not that part of why it was so vexing with those guys is there just weren't.
They always had it. It seemed like.
Well, and also it's like they were the only ones left, right? Like everyone who can shoot threes has seen the example of Gasol and Brook Lopez and how these guys have extended their careers and gotten paid more. So if they can do it, they would be, I think. Quickly, yeah, it's tough to say, but all right, we're going to be back here.
I was trying to load shot charts, but for whatever reason they wouldn't load, so why?
The Nets did make 3 floaters in that quarter. So Pell is back now to match up with Chandler. It is interesting. Scott is in as well with Tobias Harris sitting down. Thibault is back with the 4 fouls, and he immediately causes another deflection. He's completely insane. And yeah, he gambles a few times, but he definitely wins more often than he loses on those gambles to me. Irving is back as well. LeVert trying to go at Simmons. Not an advantage matchup here. 2 screens are set for him. He'll pull up wide open. And good job. That was nice recognition by Dinwiddie, of all people, that Pell was on him and to just go and set the screen for LeVert. So this is all three of the Nets perimeter stars out there now. Thibault crosses over. Alley-oop. Beautiful work. Yeah, Thibault has shown some flashes as a passer at times.
He has.
And that's one where if you're Wilson Chandler, he's not used to playing conventional pick and roll defense. Just back up and like make Matisse Thybulle go to the rim and finish on you. There's Pell. Good block. Great block with the left hand. Simmons looking to push it. Swings it to Korkmaz. Pell underneath. Goes up. He's hacked from behind. No shot. Yeah, let's see this block from Pell. This is fantastic work. Yep, he caught it right as it was about to come off the backboard. That is a good block.
And did it with the left. Coming across was one. And now he's out of the game.
No, he's in the corner.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Wilson Chandler not exactly respecting him right now. Simmons going into Dinwiddie, and he can't believe that he was called for the foul. I'm sorry, that was actually TLC. Yeah, and yeah, it's really hard to see because they both have long last names and numbers that look very similar to one another in this Nets font. But yeah, so not all three Nets perimeter guys on the floor, and it was TLC who set that screen being guarded by Pell on the last possession.
And so a lot of coaching decisions here about when to put players back in. Now, Matisse Thybulle started the fourth quarter with his 2 fouls. Jared Allen is not in, and Al Horford, it's more just when do you bring him back from his normal rest.
If they get into the bonus early here, I might consider going to the hack of Simmons. He's looked way off tonight. Here's TLC. Hesitation on the 3 is off, so it's Pell matching up, and now Chandler was able to draw the loose ball foul. Yeah, it was Mike Scott who held the arm of Chandler. That might have been one of those uncatchable pass loose ball fouls, though, that could have just gone uncalled. So after very little foul activity in the first, we've seen quite a bit here in the second half. LeVert has the matchup on Korkmaz. He should just go right at him again. Steps back. He does. That's off, though. Would have liked to see him try him a little harder. Simmons pushing it. Has Chandler on his heels. Perfect pass to Korkmaz.
And that was a great read in terms of timing, just kind of figuring out when there was going to be a seam and throwing that hard lefty pass right to Korkmaz.
Well, and you see LeVert having to come over. He's worried that Chandler is not going to be able to contain Simmons one-on-one in transition. That's what opens that up. Now Irving, guarded by Thybulle, gets the screen. Mike Scott hedges out. No advantage gain. Now Irving creating space. Thybulle, great contest. Great contest from Thybulle there.
This would be a place for Simmons to maybe do that bull rush dribble. Nope. Huh?
There's the pick from Korkmaz. And yes, beautiful work. TLC looking at Chandler. What the hell are we doing? Are we switching? Chandler saying, no, we're not switching. You're not supposed to guard Ben Simmons. Go follow him out to the 3-point line. TLC stop. They give up another 3, and Philly with their first lead.
Well, and it's entirely possible that, I mean, one of the big parts that differentiates the NBA from like college basketball is big man communication, and Wilson Chandler might just not be used to communicating those pick and roll coverages.
Yeah, and that's again, they went to that same action that they used to love running with Redick and Simmons, setting the screen all the way in the lane and then sprinting out to the 3-point line, and Simmons has found him. Catch you up here on the box score a little bit. Dinwiddie, monster game, 24 points. He's done it on only 10 field goal attempts. Also 7 of 10 at the line, 3 of 5 from 3, 6 assists, also leads the Nets. He is +6. Irving came on a little bit in the third with a little flurry, but 10 points on 5 of 15, 0 free throw attempts. Does have 4 assists. He's a team worst, -15.
And Tobias Harris is having a really nice statistical game. I don't think he hasn't been as obviously dominant possession by possession, but 23 points on 10 of 14 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. Part of that might be he hasn't gotten to the line at all and hasn't really created
He
much.
just doesn't score in a loud way. It's a lot of, so for example, he's 4 of 5 from floater range. Those aren't the shots. And when he scores, he moves pretty quickly without the ball. He's kind of Anton Jameson-like in that way, where he gets it, he comes off the screen, he attacks immediately, or he moves the ball, and so or he posts up and shoots quickly. So you're not like it almost doesn't register that he has the ball and he's shooting before he shoots it, and so you just it's not as it's not as overt as a lot of scoring is.
Or as Levert.
Yeah, Levert is a guy who usually has the ball for a long time.
See if there are any good questions. Who do you like better, Levert or Fournier? For most teams, I like Fournier. I mean, I think I trust his jump shot a little bit more, and I think that he fits as a, more of a complementary piece. And so it gets into a something that I've been thinking about a lot, which is if a player isn't good enough to be the lead offensive player, what parts are more complementary? And so you could run a system where Levert as a secondary option can work well, but I just like Fournier better overall in that kind of feel.
Someone asked if the Periscope feed is down. Not seems to be working still.
No, everything seems fine. D'Angelo Russell for Tobias or for Horford? I mean, I think Tobias Harris makes a lot of money too, but I think the Warriors would be better off with both of those deals. And for me, with Russell, he does make their offense better, both because he can actually shoot and because he can run some pick and roll stuff. But it compromises the whole theory of what makes the Sixers great, which is this truly elite defense. Because especially if you trade him for Horford, now Tobias Harris is your second worst defender instead of your worst one.
Well, D'Lo, you can't switch him on a pick and roll with Embiid, and you'd say, hey, he could at least. I mean, if they could hide JJ Redick, they could hide him. We're back here, and this is Pell committing an unnecessary foul with Irving, and Thibault saying, hey, just a little more conservative there, perhaps. So more fouling going on here early on. See if we can catch you up on that. They get it in to TLC, pressured by Simmons. Now Irving, one-on-one, Pell out on the floor with him again. That better job by him. Gets in the stands. Irving's just going to pull it on him. He needs to pressure him more. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, you got to force Irving to drive hard to his left in that situation. Do not let him pull that three-pointer. That's what he wants. Simmons, they try a similar action for Korkmaz. Harris doing a much better job. TLC calls out a switch nicely. Korkmaz step back, and he's going to get 3 throws here. I got to say it with the same intonation as you say free throws, though. And that's where it gets hard. 3 throws. There we go.
And you can see like TLC is probably frustrated because he didn't really get Korkmaz in the shooting motion. But once you've contested the shot, you can just like get out of dodge. You don't have to necessarily stand right next to where he's landing and bait.
Yeah, I mean I know Korkmaz just hit 2 in a row, but step back to his right. I mean, just be happy with a decent contest there. You don't have to go crazy.
And notably, Philly, it doesn't look as good because the Sixers are 11 of 20. Philly's up to 9 of 23 on threes, despite Horford being 1 for 7. Also, that offensive rebound off his own miss is crazy.
Yeah, let me see how that happened. That was somebody didn't come in and box him out from outside. Who misses this? Yeah, it was Joe Harris who didn't get there. Here's Simmons attacking. 3 from Korkmaz again. I don't know why he decided to take that. He couldn't even make free throws on the last possession. Here's Irving going into Thibault. Ooh, man, I didn't see a foul there. I thought that looked like a good block, but Irving is going to shoot a couple of free throws here.
And Philly has 4 timeouts left, and that would be Thibault's 5th foul. They could consider challenging this.
Let's see it. Oh, yeah, he got him on the left elbow. Good call. Yeah, we just didn't have the angle to see that. It looks like he did. That is where he got him. Man, even Kyrie can't hit free throws. This has been atrocious.
Yeah, it's Philly is barely over 50% from the free throw line, and that's I believe the 10th or 11th miss for the nets already. Yikes.
Irving a second free throw. And so the Sixers, we talked about what would happen in the non-Horford minutes. They've survived. They've even taken a lead. Jared Allen is back to deal with Horford as well. Horford off a screen. Not shy. Yes. Big shot there. They run the shooting set for Al Horford immediately. Prince was late to switch out. And Philly starting to take control a little bit here. Irving to his left. Richardson, his nemesis, is back. Irving tried to finish, could not. He has not had the touch tonight. Now it's Richardson attacking Harris in transition. Looked for the mid-ranger, but Harris did well. Simmons waves everyone away. He wants to go back to goal against Irving. Irving reaching in. Double team comes. Horford, can he make it 2 in a row? No. Off, but another rebound for the Sixers. Korkmaz rips through. Extends. Can't get the layup, though. Allen bothered him just enough. And Kurucs doesn't have numbers. He'll pull it back out. Irving feeling it? No. Nice box out by Richardson on Harris that enabled the rebound from Horford. And we'll get a timeout here for Brett Brown. And looks like Prince is holding his hand now too. But hopefully nothing serious. As we get the under 7 timeout.
I'll answer some questions, but a quick score update around the league. Spurs up 2 in Miami at the end of the third. Wizards up 5 on the Bulls at halftime. T-Wolves up 5 on the Pacers at halftime. Thunder down 18 to the Raptors at halftime, and Denver-Charlotte just started. Now I'll answer some questions. What are the biggest factors that have led to the game's globalization? The Dream Team. Yeah, the Dream Team was a really big part of it. There was exposure was a big part of it. And then remember that the NBA in particular, so you have kind of these two elements. One of it is the ability for people around the world to see the best players in the world. And I mean, the finals were tape delayed for a long time. You had all that level of exposure, but also just having players from different places and having it become a more popular game recreationally was a transformational change. And I mean, that's like in China, it's incredibly popular recreationally, and then that leads to people watching the NBA and everything else. So it all kind of feeds together. What is your favorite 5-man lineup to watch this year? There's some interesting ones. I mean, I really enjoy the when the Bucks are healthy, their starting 5 is pretty enjoyable. Memphis has put some fun stuff together, especially with when John and Jaren get cooking and they have a little bit more floor spacing. I really do enjoy that. I wish the Hawks had a little bit more talent. And then the other one for me that's in the list is Dallas can put together. To me, it's when Porzingis and Kleba and Luka, Seth Curry. And off the top of my head, I'm probably DFS as the 5th guy. Like, that's a really enjoyable lineup for me. Do you usually watch games without sound? I watch games without sound, I think, significantly more than Nate does. The reason that I do it, other than obviously the cast, because we're doing everything else, is because it's kind of as a shorthand for me. Because if you watch a game without sound, and you're not paying attention, it is intensely hard to follow. And so if I watch a game without sound, then I know I have to have my ass in gear. And that can be really useful, especially if I'm kind of like fading out a little bit on something, and I shouldn't be. You can do that, but then it can be nice to kind of get back into it. And so I especially do that if it's like there isn't a local announce team that I enjoy. But I do it, I would say maybe like 1 out of every 4 games I'm watching without sound. Which team could use Sam Hinkie as new GM the most? And my answer here is the Knicks for a very specific reason. Sam Hinkie appears to have done an unbelievably good job getting his owners to agree to things that you wouldn't have normally expected. And so, like, for example, paying the luxury tax after Kevin Durant left for those years. And
No, Sam Hinkie.
Oh, shit. I was thinking Sam Presti. Oh, Hinkie? I mean, he'd be fine on the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, because they need to actually fucking rebuild.
Yeah, he'd help with that.
But I mean, Hinkie, I think he would probably chafe at the idea that he was just a one-trick pony. Here's a nice drive from Harris, but Allen with another stop at the rim Brooklyn hanging tough. New kids on the block style.
Nice.
And there's a similar stop by Horford on the drive by Harris. Simmons looking to push it, looking for Korkmaz in transition. Korkmaz given the floater, takes the floater, misses the floater, can't get the rebound. Interested to see whether they go back to LeVert here or not, as that's a nice three from Prince, pulling them within one. Korkmaz could not get out there in time. Kurik's getting some minutes now on at the combo forward as the Nets look to get a little more size on the floor. Richardson into the lane, floats over Allen, another miss. Ooh, I thought that was a loose ball foul on Prince, no call. Dinwiddie looking to push. He's got Kurik's in the corner, back to Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie's three is off. Oh, that could have given Brooklyn the lead. Big shot there. The Nets bench was anticipating a make. Into the post to Horford. Help has to come here. It does. Korkmaz, oh, that's such a good pass from Horford, but the finish not there from Furkan Korkmaz, who has cooled off.
Yeah, he's 5 of 13 from the field now, 3 of 6 from 3.
Here's a drive by Prince into the body of Horford. They're going to count this. Nice right hand, right leg finish from Prince. He's had a couple of tough finishes there. A tuffle of finishes. Yeah, right through the arm. Good call.
And good continuation. Totally fine with it. Yeah, and Korkmaz might be, to me, the most surprising of the Sixers free throw shooting culprits. 2 of 5. Now I'm going to look up how he is as a free throw shooter. In the NBA, Furkan Korkmaz shooting 78% from the line. Okay, that's about what I thought.
Not quite the level of like the shooting specialists. There's another missed free throw. Man, this has just been an atrocious free throw shooting game. Brooklyn is in the bonus. Philly is not. They've got Allen back on Simmons now. Into Harris in the post on Dinwiddie, and they love running that play, and they disguised it this time by getting it to Simmons first, then threw it into Horford. He had the passing angle, and they're just getting Tobias Harris some really cheap, easy buckets. Allen couldn't get there soon enough. That'll be, I believe, 5 on him, unless they're going to get Dinwiddie beforehand. That's actually a key distinction.
Another missed free throw.
Yeah, so they did give that to Dinwiddie. Pick and roll, Allen. Nice layup finish over Horford. And Dinwiddie did just enough to hold Horford there so he could drop it off. He's had some excellent looks. I mean, I would say you go to Dinwiddie more than Irving here. He's looked much better tonight. Irving has not been able to get going. Dinwiddie has Korkmaz, waves him away. Yeah, he wants to just go at him. That's the right play there. They send Allen to the weak side dunker spot. 7 on the clock. Dinwiddie accelerates, spins into the lane, fades, and it misses.
What do you think about the decision to have Korkmaz on the floor now instead of Thibault? I mean, the 5 fouls isn't as big a deal anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as they're in control, they'll go that way, as this is going to be a trip on Prince. Or maybe they got Irving. I think they got Irving with it. Prince is wondering where it came from, but I think it was Irving. But, I mean, they do need some more shooting. They've got really good defenders on the 2 guys on the floor that they're worried about, Irving and Dinwiddie. It does give them a place to attack, though, with some of these pick and rolls. Small pick and rolls. That's probably what I'd be trying to do to maybe get Irving going a little bit. But it might be more just a function of the 5 fouls. And, yeah, Korkmaz is actually out now, so I assume Thibault has replaced him for the final 4-13.
Mm-hmm. Or at least until he fouls out in the next minute.
Yeah, all right, yeah, that's a good question. Does he foul out?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he will. An actual made free throw giving Philly the lead here. So both teams in the bonus. Would you consider going Hacka Simmons here?
Yeah, you'd have to use the right guy because there are a bunch of Nets with 4 fouls. But yeah, I'd consider
I mean, the Nets have some good ISO guys as Irving, accelerating into gear now, floats it from the foul line. Again, not a great shot. Oh, and Richardson just lost it. It'll go back to Brooklyn.
And Richardson there, if he just lets that ball bounce, it would have slowed down enough that he could have caught it.
But I mean, he probably was right to trust himself to catch it. He just didn't.
Fair enough.
Because he wanted to go the other way. Simmons almost gets a steal. Dinwiddie attacking Horford, hooks over it. Oh, Allen tried to dunk it, and he's going to go to the foul line. Simmons came over his back and committed the foul, although he didn't agree with that assessment.
Yeah, and Simmons, it wasn't necessarily an over the back, but he hit the guy who had rebounding position in a way that materially affected his putback. So
yeah, I don't know if he did get him.
Did he get ball?
But yeah, I mean, yeah, he did get. I think, and it just looked ugly for Allen.
Up too late to challenge. Challenge it.
Nah, I think it'll probably save it. That would also the payoff. That would be a jump ball.
Yeah.
That with Allen, this Nets
and
probably
it's not.
win.
And Simmons is not. Oh no, that's Simmons' 5th foul.
Yeah, another missed free throw. If they did want to go Haka, they would have a minute and 43 seconds to do it. Richardson picked up on the switch by Allen. LeVert is back. Post up Horford. Easy hook over Prince. The high-low worked perfectly.
Okay, so let's think about it. So that's 2 points in 1 possession for Philly after we thought they could go to Haka. I'll try to keep
Yeah, I mean, Philly is not some great half-court offensive team as Irving just gets blocked again, and we're going to go the other way. It's off of Irving. Josh Richardson is owned Kyrie Irving tonight. I mean, I think there's not many other ways to put it. And, I mean, Kyrie, it's not like Kyrie's just missing shots. He's just not getting any good looks.
That was nasty. And Kyrie,
I don't know how that's off of Irving, though.
I think Richardson got the ball, but then he wasn't touching it when Irving kind of threw it down. I
guess so. I couldn't see that, but
that's the way I saw
it. They have no challenges remaining.
They have no challenge.
Stroutman winning by 0.5 right now. Heat by 6.
Yes. Which incidentally means that the Spurs are a good team because the Heat only lose to bad teams. So you kind of don't want to beat them. Is Boston's slump just a dog days type of thing, or have teams been able to make notable adjustments? They've had a couple of kind of like what I would call fluky games. That game against the Wizards, I watched a portion of that about a week ago.
And that was no Kemba, too.
Yeah, that was no Kemba, but it was like one of those, like you can't make a single shot and your opponent's making a little bit more. Like those games happen over the course of a season. It's not necessarily like they always happen now, but over the course of a 45-game sample, they happen to teams, and that's been a part of it. Porzingis was a late scratch again. He will not play in Sacramento.
Oof. But I thought it was an illness. It had nothing to do with his knees. He was ready to come back 3 games ago, and then it was an illness.
Maybe an actual journalist should ask Ricardo about that.
So Nets trying to go with the zone. Prince didn't realize what they were in. Then he gets into it. Harris over Prince. That's off. No hesitation. Dinwiddie looking to push. He's got Richardson on his heels, but has to back it out. Prince, good close down by Harris. That was great defense by the Sixers. Double screen for Dinwiddie. Going at the drop coverage of Horford. Snakes along the baseline. No opening whatsoever. And he loses it. Man, this is a great Philadelphia defense.
We don't think about this, but Philly being a great transition defense team also is an argument in favor of Haka because you're not creating an advantage when you get a stop.
Yeah, I don't think they're good enough offensively that you go to that strategy, though. Especially because you're not exactly going to be scoring on the other end. You don't want to give them, a 1 point per possession on average. You need to actually get stops. Nice cut by Richardson against the zone. Swing it out. Harris, late clock. He's going to have to pull. Does so. Oh, that's the shot of the game right there. Impossible shot over Dinwiddie. And Tobias Harris has had his way tonight. 12 of 18 from the field. Nets taking too long to get into things. Allen, they want to get Irving backdoor. Richardson held his jersey to prevent the cut. No call. Now Simmons denying Dinwiddie. He can't get a call either. Harris trying to go through Thibault. Absolutely nothing there. They're going to have to throw it up. I don't think he even got it off. Yep, wave it off. Shot clock violation. These guys are monsters right now.
Yeah, they've really put the clamps in. Matisse Thybulle has not gotten his 5th foul, which I think has been an important part of it.
6th foul.
6th foul. So there hasn't been a place for them to attack as regularly. And we've really seen them put the clamps in.
So another bucket here can probably salt it away if you're Philly. Now, if they score again, then you probably try to hack Simmons whenever he's involved in the action, I would say, to get some more possessions for yourself to come back. But it's probably not time for that yet. Double screen for Richardson. Goes at Prince. Reach in by Prince and a dumb one. What is that? That's 2 free throws. What is he doing?
Yeah, he wasn't gonna steal that ball from Josh Richardson.
Yeah, coming across his body. He's not in an advantage situation. Just move your feet and make him hit a contested shot. So let's see if someone can actually make a free throw in this game.
Hey!
Richardson, was he the 40th overall pick?
I was thinking he was 41st.
2015?
I was thinking he was 41st, but I'll look it up.
But originally the Miami Heat, of course, came to Philly in that sign-and trade for Jimmy Butler.
He was 40th. You were right.
Reasonable contract, and he drains a couple of free throws here. So Nets, they got to get some alacrity to their offense here. Double screen. Dinwiddie doesn't take this jumper. Instead, it goes right to the basket. That's more what they needed. Horford did not rotate over. Would you do the hack here?
I would.
I would consider it. Yeah, I really would. Because they're not really stopping Philly right now.
Well, and they're running so much time.
Yeah. Here's a jumper by Harris again. And that pick and roll, you know, people criticize the mid-range, but this is the time where just simply getting a bucket might be more important than the 3 versus a 2. Irving attacking Horford, misses another layup. He wanted the foul, didn't get it.
It's over.
Well, they got to hack a Simmons if they can get him involved in the action here. Yeah, like if he's just, we'll see. Yeah, he's gonna go set the screen, but no, they're late enough in the clock now. It's probably not worth it. Harris gonna try and score one more time. Oh yeah.
In the words of noted former net Paul Pierce, that's why they brought him here. I mean, this has been a huge offensive game for Tobias Harris.
And also to me, just showing some real defensive limitations from the Nets. But the issue is, okay, you've got Jared Allen guarding Simmons, who killed you in the first half. That's largely taken that away. Then you've got Prince has to guard Horford. And so now they have nobody with any size. It's been Spencer Dinwiddie has to be the main matchup on Harris, and then they're switching out Jared Allen onto him. That's part of the matchup problems that Philly can cause. And with Horford out there rather than Embiid, they've got enough spacing to take advantage of some of these size mismatches. Obviously, Harris has shot it incredibly well. He's 14 of 20, 4 of 6 from 3, and he's done a lot of it on spectacular mid-range shooting. So those shots wouldn't go in for him like this every game, but clear to me that Brooklyn, but we don't think that of them as a great defensive team, right? Like they're going to beat people on offense, and I think it's been more telling that they just have not been able to get any kind of good shots until it kind of got into speed desperation time here in the last minute and a half. Why did I like Dennis Smith Jr. so much as a prospect? I thought he was one of the best athletic point guards, way beyond the 2 guys he mentioned, Schroeder and Reggie Jackson, as athletes. I thought he would be a good finisher. I liked his vision, and I thought he'd be a much better shooter than he has been. Here's Dinwiddie with a 3 off the pick and pop. That misses, and we're just about done here. Hopefully they won't foul. Harris trying to pressure. Thibault almost throw it away, but plenty of time here. Don't foul. It's 9-point game. They have the ball with 32 seconds left. Come on.
Strawman still looking strong. The Heat are up 6 with 5:42 to go. Come on. Come on, Strawman. And Charlotte tied with Denver midway through or late in the first quarter. So that's looking good too. Good job, Mark.
Yeah, Toronto getting healthy. They still don't have Van
Well,
Vliet.
while we're still here and we're just kind of killing time, another reminder for tomorrow.
Yes.
You and I are doing. We're going to take over the NBA's Twitch channel and we're going to live broadcast Bucks Celtics. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, patreon.com/Duncan LaRue. Great way to support this endeavor. We do subscriber-only mailbag podcasts every single month, and then salary cap sheets and whatever else we can think of, and that could be useful at the trade deadline coming right up.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be getting those out in a little bit here. And Dunked On coming tonight, we'll talk about the Northwest Division and their trade possibilities. Thank you for joining us in what was, in the end, a comfortable Philly victory.
Yeah, but it was a fun one.